LoveLore Library. Chapter 366. Ha! It turns out that Sister Jiyun is my sister-in-law. Wu Zhongjie slapped the back of his head and said, I say, a perfect match. Not bad, Brother Yang. Get out of here, you little brat. I don't know who told me that Lin Jiyun isn't suitable for me. Yang Ming scolded. Hee, wasn't it because I didn't recognize Empty Tai? I didn't know that Brother Yang was so badass. Wu Zhongjie said awkwardly, now it seems that only you are worthy of Sister Jiyun. Damn, you kid is quite good at flattering. Yang Ming smiled and said, I'm leaving. I have to go back and prepare. Okay, Brother Yang, you go back. Wu Zhongjie held the movie ticket in his hand tightly. Yang Ming smiled and shook his head. He left Wu Zhongjie's house, but he didn't charge less for the tutoring fee. He took it all. Anyway, this was another matter. The night of December 24th was known as Christmas Eve. It wasn't known when it started, but this foreign festival had been deeply rooted in China. Now the streets could feel the festive atmosphere. However, it was no wonder. New Year only happened once a year, so if one wanted to be lively, one had to find ways to add a few more festivals. It was agreed that they would gather at the school gate today. Zhang Bin's car definitely couldn't fit all of them, so Yang Ming borrowed a car from Ho Jinhan. It was his antique old Jetta. However, this car was really badass even though it was old. Recently, Ho Jinhan had also frequently contacted some famous big shots. He was driving this broken car, so this car was considered a bullet car in Songjiang. Yang Ming and Chen Mengyan were together. The two people waited for Zhang Bin and Tian Donghua at the school gate. After a while, Zhang Bin drove the Pentium with Zhao Sisi, but Tian Donghua was as slow as a snail. Yang Ming called twice to urge him, but this guy was late. However, Yang Ming was surprised that Tian Donghua didn't come with 2 people, but 3 people. The extra person was Zhou Jiejia. Yang Ming broke into a sweat. What I am afraid of is happening. What was Tian Donghua doing? Why did he bring Zhou Jiejia here? What is going on? When Chen Mengyan saw Zhou Jiejia, she also frowned. Although she didn't have a bad impression of Zhou Jiejia, she was subconsciously on guard against her. But now that she saw that Zhou Jiejia came with Tian Donghua, she didn't think much. Instead, Yang Ming pulled Tian Donghua aside with an awkward expression and whispered, Old Tian, what's the matter with you? You don't match. It's a long story. I didn't look for her. Tian Donghua shook his head bitterly. Zhou Jiejia doesn't have a boyfriend. She and Wang Shui are best friends. Wang Shui can't leave her alone. Wang Shui gave me 2 choices. Either she goes with Zhou Jiejia, or she goes with me, but she has to bring Zhou Jiejia. What do you think I can do? Damn, is this possible? Yang Ming looked at Wang Shui with a deep meaning. Isn't this looking for trouble for me? Yang Ming, just put up with it. At most, I will treat you when we go out to eat. Is that okay? Tian Donghua shook his head and said, besides, it's more lively to have a beauty. Forget it. She has already come. You can't drive her away, right? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Let's go. Do you want to sit in my car or Zhang Bin's car? Nonsense. I don't want to sit in your broken car. Tian Donghua looked at Yang Ming's scrap Jetta contemptuously. He pulled Wang Shui and walked to Zhang Bin's Pentium. Jiejia. I'm sorry. You can only sit in Yang Ming's car. Do you want to change? Wang Shui said deliberately. In fact, she knew very well that Zhou Jiejia was eager to sit in Yang Ming's car. No need. I will sit in Yang Ming's car. Zhou Jijia said with a smile. Hee hee. Tian Donghua remembered that there was still Zhou Jijia. He smiled embarrassedly. Otherwise, you can sit in Zhang Bin's car. Wang Shui and I will sit in Yang Ming's car. No need. Zhou Jijia smiled. It doesn't matter. With this act, even the little vinegar jar Chen Mengyan didn't doubt it. Only Yang Ming felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. Zhou Jijia got in the car. Yang Ming started the car. The car made a rumbling engine sound like a helicopter. I'm going to faint. Yang Ming, can you still drive this car? Chen Mengyan looked at Yang Ming with some fear. It's okay. I can only borrow this temporarily. Yang Ming smiled comfortingly. The engine of this car isn't very good, but the other performances are good. I'm sorry. Wang Shui insisted on dragging me. I don't have any interest in going alone, so I didn't refuse. I've troubled you. Zhou Jijia said apologetically. Don't say this. What trouble? It will be more lively if we go together. Since the other party said so, Chen Mengyan couldn't say anything. What's more, this person was the best friend of Tian Donghua's girlfriend. They couldn't simply offend her. At the very least, they had to take into account the relationship between Yang Ming and Tian Donghua, right? Hee hee, Mengyan, you are so beautiful. Yang Ming is really blessed to find you. Zhou Jijia praised. What kind of blessing? Hee hee, you see that this kid looks honest, but in fact, he is very fickle. Chen Mengyan said so, but she was very happy in her heart. Her impression of Zhou Jijia was also better. Right, what was Yang Ming like in junior high school? Junior high school. Yang Ming was very good in his studies. He even won the second prize in the national mathematics competition. Zhou Jijia said, however, at that time, Yang Ming was much fairer than now. Yang Ming sweated after listening. My lady, what is fairer? Why does it sound like a gigolo? Really? Yang Ming actually won a national award in the national mathematics competition in junior high school. Chen Mengyan was stunned. She didn't expect Yang Ming to actually win the second prize in the competition. Why? You didn't know. Zhou Jijia was also very surprised. She thought that Chen Mengyan was very clear about Yang Ming's past. I don't know. Yang Ming didn't tell me these things. Maybe he didn't want to show off. When I knew him, he was skipping classes all day. Every time he took an exam, he was at the bottom. Although I heard that his academic performance was good, I really didn't expect him to win an award in the national mathematics competition. There was nothing wrong with Chen Mengyan's expression on the surface, but she was a little uncomfortable in her heart. Zhou Jijia knew more than her, and she was his girlfriend. She was the person who accompanied him for a lifetime. If he had anything, he should tell me everything. Therefore, Chen Mengyan decided to find an opportunity to ask about Yang Ming's past. Hee hee, but it can be seen that Yang Ming loves you very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made such a big change for you. Zhou Jijia smiled. You are very happy. Chen Mengyan nodded with a red face. For a moment, the lingering depression in her heart, the depression related to Lan Ling, suddenly faded a lot. A woman's nature is like this. She likes to be praised. Although Chen Mengyan wasn't vain, who doesn't like to hear nice words? Especially when other women are envious of her happiness. So, you have to cherish it. Zhou Jijia suddenly said in a half-joking tone, if one day you dump Yang Ming, you must tell me. I now think that Yang Ming is a good candidate for a boyfriend. Hee hee, for sure. Chen Mengyan said with a smile, but in her heart, I won't let that day happen. You should give up. Although Chen Mengyan thought that Zhou Jiejie was just joking, she was unconsciously nervous. I'm just joking. Zhou Jiejie also smiled. But, maybe one day I will take it seriously. Hee hee. Chen Mengyan took the initiative to change the topic. Right, when Yang Ming was in junior high school, did he have a girlfriend? I heard that, there was a girl named Suya. She and Yang Ming. Junior high school. When Zhou Jiejie heard Chen Mengyan's words, her face was gloomy. About Suya, how should Zhou Jiejie answer this? If she answered truthfully, she didn't know if Yang Ming would be happy or not. Moreover, for Suya, Zhou Jiejie was hostile, but she had to imitate her. This made Zhou Jiejie very conflicted. Moreover, if Chen Mengyan continued to investigate the reason why they broke up, he would definitely be implicated. Therefore, this wasn't what Zhou Jiejie wanted to see, so Zhou Jiejie said vaguely, I was busy studying at that time. I didn't care about this. Why don't you ask Yang Ming? So it's like this. Although Chen Mengyan was a little disappointed, she felt that Zhou Jiejie's words were reasonable. When she was in junior high school, she didn't care about the outside world and only focused on studying. Yang Ming listened to the conversation between Zhou Jiejie and Chen Mengyan, and he had a feeling of fear. Good heavens, these two people can't not scare me, right? Chen Mengyan is a vinegar jar. If she found out something, wouldn't it be troublesome again? However, Zhou Jiejie's IQ was obviously not low. Yang Ming couldn't help but nod secretly on the side. This chick is very good at capturing people's hearts. In just a while, there seems to be a trend of getting along well. Hearing that Zhou Jiejie didn't say anything that shouldn't be said, Yang Ming was relieved. Chapter 367. Originally, Yang Ming thought that Zhou Jiejie wanted to take the opportunity to retaliate. She wanted to say some bad things about him in front of Chen Mengyan. But later, Yang Ming also felt that this possibility was very small, unless Zhou Jiejie wanted to be beaten again. Now, after listening to Zhou Jiejie's words, Yang Ming had some doubts. What does this chick want to do? Looking at her appearance, it seems that she is deliberately catering to Chen Mengyan. In this way, the two people can easily become good friends. This was what Yang Ming didn't want to see. He was very sensitive to Zhou Jiejie, this chick. He didn't want her to disturb his life again. But the current situation was that Zhou Jiejie didn't know why, but she kept trying to get close to him. If Zhou Jiejie said that she liked him, Yang Ming wouldn't believe it. The reason was obvious. The two people hadn't seen each other for several years. It was impossible to have any feelings. Besides, the only intersection between Zhou Jiejie and himself was the incident with Suya in junior high school. But I found someone to beat Zhou Jiejie up. Could it be that because of this beating, Zhou Jiejie had feelings for me? Could it be that she is the legendary S&M fan? Yang Ming thought evilly. If this is the case, then it's not bad to have her in my room. However, Yang Ming was just thinking about it. He wasn't stupid enough to think that Zhou Jiejie had this tendency. Since the start of university, he and Zhou Jiejie rarely spoke. If Zhou Jiejie only liked him after he entered university, that would be even more unreasonable. Therefore, Yang Ming had reason to think that Zhou Jiejie had ulterior motives. It was just that Yang Ming didn't see what Zhou Jiejie's intentions were. According to her current approach, she was purely looking for trouble. It wouldn't have any effect on Yang Ming. The restaurant was booked by Zhang Bin. It was a large hot pot chain restaurant. It was still a good choice to eat hot pot in winter. Especially when there were many people, it was more cost-effective to eat hot pot. Zhang Bin led the way in front and parked the car in the only empty space in the parking lot. When Yang Ming arrived, there was no more space in the parking lot. Who let today be Christmas Eve? There were simply too many people coming out to eat. Yang Ming had no choice. He didn't care about him anymore. He parked the car directly under the steps of the hot pot restaurant's entrance. It was reasonable to say that parking was not allowed here, but Yang Ming saw that a car on the side was also parked like this, so he also stopped. However, as soon as he parked the car, the security guard at the entrance of the hot pot restaurant walked over. When he saw Yang Ming's shabby car, he felt dizzy. Damn, if you were a Mercedes-Benz, BMW, or Porsche, it would be fine if you parked it at the entrance. Even the Camry beside you is fine. At least it is considered a luxury car. What's with your lousy Jetta parked here? The paint was peeling off, and there were traces of spray painting on the body of the car. Furthermore, the sound of the car driving was louder than that of a tractor. Isn't this a hindrance to the appearance of the city? So, the security guard came over and knocked on the glass of Yang Ming's car and said, "Parking is not allowed at the entrance of the hotel. You should find another place." Yang Ming was stunned and asked with some confusion, "Isn't the car on the side parked?" "The car on the side, the car on the side." The security guard said, "Your car is too shabby. It will affect the beauty of the hotel entrance if you put it here." When Yang Ming heard it, he was immediately angry. "How is it beautiful? I am here to eat. What does it matter what car I drive? Even if I drive a Bentley, can I eat more than others?" When the security guard saw that Yang Ming was still here, he was somewhat impatient. "Anyway, parking is not allowed here. You can go. Don't eat in our house." Anyway, the security guard thought that he was not wrong. There were rules and regulations that were written like this. Pack. As soon as the security guard finished speaking, he felt a heavy blow to his face. He was so dizzy that he didn't know what was going on. Yang Ming was annoyed. "I am here to eat. I am a customer. I am a god. You actually want me to leave? Motherfucker. What's wrong with me driving a Jetta? Even if it is a scrap car and the quality is a little worse, you can't discriminate, right?" Seeing the quarrel here, the security captain also rushed over. When he saw Yang Ming's broken Jetta, he was shocked. The little security guard didn't know, but it was impossible for him not to know. The security captain was Bao Sonli's underling. This car belonged to the second-in-command, Ho Jinhan. He was quite clear about it. Therefore, there was no need to ask about this matter. No matter who was right or wrong, it was right to listen to the boss. The security captain didn't care about the little security guard who was crying to him. He directly swung his arm and slapped the other side of the little security guard's face. There was another earth-shattering sound. The little security guard finally gained weight for free under the pincer attack. "I'm sorry, everyone. This security guard is new. He doesn't know anything. Please come in." The security captain turned around and said to Yang Ming and the other two in a flattering manner. Although he didn't know what the relationship between these three people and Ho Jinhan was, it was definitely related. Otherwise, it was impossible to drive Ho Jinhan's car out. As for why he didn't think that this car might be stolen, the reason was very simple. First, this car wasn't worth stealing. It couldn't be sold for much money. Second, who dared to steal it? Even if it was stolen, Ho Jinhan would give an order. Wouldn't the whole city look for the car? Although Yang Ming didn't know why the security captain had such a good attitude, he still nodded and said, "This car is my friend's. Help me look after it. Don't let people scratch it." The head of the security team thought to himself, "Who scratched this car? The paint is almost gone." However, because it was Ho Jinhan's car, even if Yang Ming didn't say it, he had to do his best to look after it. As a result, there was a very strange phenomenon at the entrance of Hot Pot City. The security captain personally guarded a broken Jetta. Yang Ming, why are you using violence again? Chen Mengyan wasn't angry this time. After all, the security guard's words were too irritating. I don't think it's a big deal. This kind of person should be taught a lesson. Zhou Jiejia smiled and said, Mengyan, you look at his tone just now. It seems like he is very powerful. But later, the security captain was very reasonable, but his approach was a bit violent. Chen Mengyan nodded and agreed with Zhou Jiejia's statement. Yang Ming shook his head. This Zhou Jiejia followed him, but there were benefits to following him. She could actually coax Chen Mengyan, this jealous lover, so well. Moreover, she also helped him solve a lot of problems. Originally, Zhang Bin and Yang Ming both drove here. They agreed not to drink. However, they couldn't resist Tian Donghua's instigation. Later, they felt that Huahai 3D cinema wasn't too far from here. They simply left the car here after drinking and drove back tomorrow. Therefore, the three people asked for 6 bottles of beer and drank. What Yang Ming didn't expect was that Zhou Jiejia had become very easygoing now. She wasn't as rigid as she was in junior high school. At least, Yang Ming thought that she was very rigid. If Zhou Jiejia heard Yang Ming's evaluation of her, she would definitely cry out that she was wronged. I wasn't rigid at that time. I was just a little stupid. I naively thought that if I broke up Yang Ming and Suya, Yang Ming would like me. Because they came out to relax today, the 4 girls also asked for a bottle of red wine. Chen Mingyan's alcohol tolerance was obviously not good. After drinking this low-alcohol fruit wine, her little face became red. Zhao Sisi was obviously fine. She was the one who could drink the most. This made Zhang Bin very proud. In business, women also need to be able to drink. The security captain had already asked the location of the private room where Yang Ming was. He quickly asked the lobby manager to send a fruit plate and a few plates of hot pot vegetables. Yang Ming and the others thought that the service of the hot pot restaurant was better. They praised the economy here and wanted to come here to eat next time. The meal took about 2 hours. Looking at the time, it was almost 8 o'clock. The movie started at 8:30. It was almost time. So, Yang Ming and the group got up to pay the bill and left the private room. Although Yang Ming, Zhang Bin, and Tian Donghua drank a lot of wine, they were only a little drunk. It didn't affect their actions. Outside the hotel, Yang Ming saw that the security captain was still standing next to his car. So, he walked over and patted his shoulder and said, "Buddy, I am going to watch the movie. I will leave the car with you first. How about you help me take care of it?" "No problem." The security captain nodded immediately after hearing it. "You go. I will be here." Yang Ming was a little surprised. Why is this security captain so enthusiastic? But after thinking about it, it was worth attributing it to the hotel owner's management. How would he know that there was also a reason for Ho Jinhan? Huahai 3D cinema was only a stop away from here. It would take more than 10 minutes to walk. It was just enough to sober up. Besides, the streets were busy now. It wasn't boring. Chapter 368. "Sir, do you want to buy flowers?" a weak voice asked. Yang Ming looked up and saw a little girl holding a bunch of flowers and looking at him pitifully. "How much?" asked Yang Ming. 10 yuan. The little girl said carefully. Christmas flowers were more expensive. Yang Ming also knew that. He saw that the little girl was pitiful, so he said, "Then I'll buy one." As Yang Ming said this, he took out 10 yuan. "Big brother, can you buy a few more? The little girl said anxiously, I beg you. I only sold 6 today. If I sell less, I will be beaten at night, beaten. Yang Ming frowned. What do you mean? Big brother, don't ask. When the little girl spoke, her eyes glanced at a bench not far away. Yang Ming followed the little girl's gaze and saw a fierce-looking man sitting on the bench smoking. He looked around from time to time. Yang Ming immediately understood that this guy must be the leader of an illegal network of children selling flowers. Obviously, there was more than one child selling flowers here. Yang Ming sighed. Although he wanted to intervene in this kind of thing, he couldn't do anything. If he stepped forward, the man would definitely say that this little girl was his daughter or simply push the blame away. However, Yang Ming didn't intend to let him go. Zhang Bin, Tian Donghua, come and buy flowers for your girlfriend. Yang Ming summoned them. Yang Ming bought flowers for Qin Mengyan. Tian Donghua and Zhang Bin naturally had to pay for it. No one would not do this kind of face thing. As the first girl in the group to receive a flower, Qin Mengyan was still very happy. Therefore, Qin Mengyan was generous for once. She pulled Yang Ming and whispered, Yang Ming, Zhou Jiejie didn't have a flower yet. She didn't receive one. How embarrassing. Why don't you buy one for her? Ha! Yang Ming was stunned. Buy flowers for Zhou Jiejie? What kind of joke is this? However, seeing Qin Mengyan's eager eyes, Yang Ming couldn't bear to refuse. Forget it. Qin Mengyan was rarely generous. Yang Ming simply nodded and said, okay. Therefore, Yang Ming took out another 10 yuan and bought a rose. The little girl was naturally very happy and sold another business. This is for you. Yang Ming extended his hand with the flowers in front of Zhou Jiejie. Ah! Zhou Jiejie's face immediately showed an unbelievable expression with surprise, excitement, and a hint of hesitation. What is Yang Ming doing? Is he messing with me? Happiness came too quickly. Zhou Jiejie felt that it was somewhat unreal. Although she had just heard the words between Qin Mengyan and Yang Ming, she knew that this rose didn't represent any special meaning. He was just afraid that she would be embarrassed, so he bought it for her. However, Zhou Jiejie understood Yang Ming's character very well. She was very clear about Yang Ming's attitude towards her. Now, no matter what, Yang Ming could buy flowers for her. It showed that the relationship between the two people still had signs of easing. However, Zhou Jiejie also once again recognized the position of Qin Mengyan in Yang Ming's heart. Yes, this woman's position in Yang Ming's heart was no less than Suya. In other words, if she got the approval of Qin Mengyan, then she wasn't far from her ideal goal. In any case, Suya had become a thing of the past. Now, Qin Mengyan was Yang Ming's pillow. Therefore, Zhou Jiejie felt that it was necessary to adjust her plan. As for Suya, she could get her forgiveness in the future. Zhou Jiejie trembled as she took the rose in Yang Ming's hand. She was so excited that she didn't know what to say. Wang Shui smiled and looked at Zhou Jiejie with a deep meaning. Jiejie, why are you trembling? Are you cold? As she said this, she gave Zhou Jiejie a look. Yang Ming also wanted to ask this question, but he didn't expect Wang Shui to say it first. After receiving Wang Shui's hint, Zhou Jiejie quickly hid her emotions. Yes, Qin Mengyan was still in front of me. I couldn't show any inappropriateness. Otherwise, the friendship that I just established with her would definitely be broken in an instant. If Qin Mengyan had the intention of guarding against me, then my previous efforts would be in vain. Zhou Jiejie suddenly woke up and said quickly, yes, it's a bit cold. Hee, I'm wearing less. Yang Ming didn't doubt her. He nodded and didn't say anything. Zhou Jiejie pinched the rose tightly, as if she was afraid that it would disappear. From time to time, she looked at the rose with the corner of her eyes. There was a slight smile that was imperceptible at the corner of her mouth. Wang Shui sighed secretly. Zhou Jiejie, why are you so easily satisfied? It's just a flower, and I didn't buy it specifically for you. You are so happy. Indeed, Zhou Jiejie now had a feeling of dizziness. It was the feeling of being hit by happiness. Today's Zhou Jiejie was very easy to be satisfied, just like many little girls who longed for happiness. A little surprise would make her happy for a long time. Zhou Jiejie felt that she didn't come out in vain today. At least, she received a flower, right? Although Zhou Jiejie usually received flowers from boys, Yang Ming's gift couldn't be the same as those boys. Although there was only one flower, Zhou Jiejie regarded it as a treasure. While walking to the cinema, Yang Ming took out his mobile phone and called Qin Fei. Forcing a child to sell flowers, this kind of thing naturally had to be dealt with by the police. Hello, Uncle Qin, I'm Yang Ming. Yang Ming said. Oh. Yang Ming, it's so late. Why are you looking for Uncle Qin? Asked Qin Fei. Hee, Uncle Qin, this is the case. I just bought a rose at the entrance of KFC on Huahai Street. I found that the child seemed to be controlled by a criminal group. Moreover, there were some children who were being forced nearby. Yang Ming said, I suspect that the person who instigated these children is nearby. Oh. You went to Huahai Street. Buy flowers. Are you going out to play with your girlfriend? Asked Qin Fei. Yeah, hee. Yang Ming laughed. With your high school classmate. Is it the study commissary? Qin Fei asked again. Yang Ming nodded. He didn't understand why Qin Fei asked so carefully. Oh, you guys made up. Qin Fei continued to ask, right? The Disney set that I suggested you to send last time was very effective, right? Yes, but Uncle Qin, shouldn't you care about the children's problems first? Why are you always interested in my private life? Yang Ming broke into a sweat. Oh, it has been recorded. After Xia Shui saw it, she brought people to the police station. Qin Fei said, do you want Uncle Qin to personally lead the team? This isn't a big case. Oh, Sister Xia Shui went. That's good. Yang Ming thought, Xia Shui is a violent girl who hates evil. The leader is going to be unlucky. Hee, then I won't bother you guys. You guys have fun. Qin Fei said, right, Yang Ming, I'm still against premarital sex. Don't let me down. What? Yang Ming hung up the phone in shock. He thought, why is Uncle Qin more concerned about my matters than my own mother? Premarital sex. Why do you care? This isn't against the law. Yang Ming, who were you calling? Chen Mengyan asked softly. Oh, I called the police. Yang Ming didn't have to hide. Right, did you notice that the little girl who sold the flowers seemed to be forced? And I thought it was strange at the time. Now that you said it, it really felt like this. Chen Mengyan nodded and then said to Yang Ming, you wait for me. I will call my family. Yang Ming didn't feel anything, so he nodded. Chen Mengyan called her family. Yang Ming naturally didn't want to eavesdrop, so he deliberately walked a few steps faster. Chen Mengyan was very kind. When she heard that the children were forced, her sympathy immediately came up. Although Yang Ming called the police, Chen Mengyan was afraid that the police station didn't pay enough attention, so she called her father. Dad, I'm Mengyan. Chen Mengyan said. Oh. Mengyan, what's wrong? Why are you looking for Dad? Qin Fei was puzzled. Why did his daughter call when Yang Ming hung up the phone? Are they not together? That's not right. Didn't Yang Ming say that they were together? Could it be that there was someone else? That. I have something to tell you. So, Chen Mengyan talked about the little girl who sold the flowers. Chen Fei couldn't help but be speechless after listening. It seems that his daughter and son-in-law have a strong sense of justice. Mengyan, we have received the police report. The police have been dispatched, so you don't have to worry. Chen Fei said with a smile, right, Mengyan, where are you? Who are you with? Chapter 369. That. My classmate and I. Chen Mengyan said hesitantly. Your classmate bought you flowers. Chen Fei smiled strangely after listening. Is it that Yang Ming? Chen Mengyan's answer was the same as Yang Ming's, but she was more shy. Hee, then you have fun. Chen Fei hung up the phone after saying that. Chen Mengyan was somewhat inexplicable. How did Dad guess that it was Yang Ming? I almost didn't mention Yang Ming's name recently. It's really strange. The 7 people came to the door of Huahai Cinema, and the problem came. Yang Ming had 3 couples tickets in his hand. Now there were 7 people. Could they go in? Even if they went in, who would Zhou Jie sit with? However, Zhou Jie might have reached a consensus with Wang Shui. Zhou Jie, Wang Shui, and Tian Donghua were in a private room. Moreover, Wang Shui also agreed with this proposal. After all, the relationship between Wang Shui and Tian Donghua was just established. It hadn't developed to a very intimate level. In this way, with Zhou Jie, Tian Donghua couldn't do too much to Wang Shui. Although Tian Donghua felt a little uncomfortable, there was no other way. It was good enough that Wang Shui could accompany him, so he had to agree with Wang Shui's statement and bring Zhou Jie along. Anyway, the space in the couple's compartment was very spacious. It wasn't a problem for 3 people to sit. However, even if they reached a consensus, there was still a small problem when they entered the cinema. Sir, there are 7 of you, but there are only 3 couples tickets. One person is not allowed to enter, said the ticket inspector at the entrance of the cinema. Not allowed. Why? Wang Shui couldn't accept it. She pointed to the couple tickets and said, there is no rule here that only 2 people can enter. But, aren't couples always 2 people? The ticket inspector had a headache. It wasn't written on the ticket, but was it necessary to write it? Everyone knew what was going on, right? Who said that couples must be 2 people? When Tian Donghua heard Wang Shui speak, how could he not show off? Can't we be a 3-person couple? Haven't you seen a threesome before? Yeah, let's have a threesome. Wang Shui added. The ticketing officer was about to faint. He had been ticketing tickets for several years, but this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. Yang Ming and Zhang Bin also looked at Wang Shui in amazement. Isn't this chick too fierce? How could he dare to say anything? However, when he thought about it, it was true that birds of a feather flock together. Tian Donghua was fierce first, and Wang Shui was just following his wife's lead. How is it? Can we go in now? Tian Donghua said to the speechless ticket inspector. But... The ticket inspector was now rendered speechless by Tian Donghua and Wang Shui. What she said seemed to make a lot of sense. Your ticket didn't say that there were 2 couples. What's wrong with her saying that there were 3? 3p, threesome, that's evil. If there's nothing else, we're going in. Yang Ming handed the ticket to the ticketing officer. The ticketing officer was still hesitating, but when he saw the number of the ticket, he immediately shut up. The numbers on these 3 tickets were A001 to A003. They were the 5 best seats in the first row of the couple partition. Those who could get these tickets weren't ordinary people. Therefore, the ticketing officer simply didn't want to be a busybody. Even if the boss knew, he wouldn't blame him. The first 5 tickets were originally tickets for favors. They were given out, so it didn't make a difference if there was one more person or one less person going in. The cinema wouldn't lose anything. Those who could get the first 3 tickets were ruthless people, so it didn't matter if it was a threesome or threesome. Even if it was a group threesome, it was none of his business. So, he raised his hand and let them go. The 7 people found their seats. Yang Ming asked for the A003 partition in the middle. The location here was the best. The first row of couple partitions had 5 seats, so Yang Ming's seat wouldn't be disturbed by people going to the toilet on both sides. What is threesome? Chen Mengyan was more pure. Naturally, she didn't understand such obscure words. Ordinary words such as masturbating and XO could barely be understood, but threesome was a less common word. Obviously, she didn't understand. Ugh, it's 1 man and 2 women. Yang Ming explained. 1 man and 2 women. Just like Tian Donghua, Wang Shui, and Zhou Jiejie, asked Chen Mengyan. Not really, how do I say it, it's just going to bed together. Yang Ming felt that it wasn't very good to say it directly to Chen Mengyan, but subconsciously, Yang Ming felt that if Lan Ling came back, maybe he would have a threesome one day. Now that he had the opportunity, he wanted to instill this idea in Chen Mengyan. It's disgusting. Chen Mengyan sneered. She saw Yang Ming was actually laughing, and she was suddenly annoyed. Do you think so too? Ha! Yang Ming was shocked and blurted out, how did you know? You are going to die. I'm telling you, Yang Ming, you are dreaming. It's impossible. Chen Mengyan said coldly. It's just a joke. Yang Ming smiled awkwardly. He was careless, and his true thoughts were discovered by Chen Mengyan. Chen Mengyan naturally didn't want to continue to pursue this matter with Yang Ming. They had been in a cold war for so long. Chen Mengyan was also a little scared. So, she just scolded him. Although Chen Mengyan was still brooding about Lan Ling's matter, she had already tacitly accepted this fact in her subconscious. Otherwise, what could she do? Let Yang Ming break up with her. Never mind that Yang Ming wouldn't agree emotionally. Even if Yang Ming agreed, Chen Mengyan wouldn't agree. Breaking up was equivalent to personally killing Yang Ming. Yang Ming was dead. What was there to fight about? Wasn't that a problem? Therefore, Chen Mengyan also forced herself not to think about Lan Ling's matter. Anyway, out of sight, out of mind. Don't make jokes in the future, Anne. I don't want to mention that person. Chen Mengyan hesitated and said. Then you mean, you are ready to accept Lan Ling? Yang Ming was happy after listening. I didn't say that I accept, and I don't plan to accept in the future. Chen Mengyan paused and continued, the matter between you two has nothing to do with me. I don't want to have anything to do with her. You mean, the 2 of us, and me and her, don't interfere with each other? Yang Ming roughly understood Chen Mengyan's meaning. Maybe. You can think of it this way. Chen Mengyan said with some helplessness and pain, in short, I won't look for her, but you can't let me see her. Yang Ming's mood now was very happy. This was the precursor to success. As long as Chen Mengyan didn't pursue Lan Ling's matter, then other things could be discussed later. However, on the surface, Yang Ming still pretended to be very painful. In fact, it couldn't be said that he was pretending. Yang Ming's heart was indeed full of guilt now. Mengyan. I'm sorry. Chen Mengyan shook her head and looked at Yang Ming. Her eyes were full of tenderness. I love you, so I am selfish and suspicious. But also because I love you, I can indulge you. Having said this, Chen Mengyan bit her lip. Indeed, this decision was undoubtedly very painful for her. But Chen Mengyan had to make this decision. She knew that Lan Ling's problem was always an important factor that hindered the development of their relationship. Only by solving this factor could the two of them be better together. Otherwise, if they were both on guard against each other, could it still be called a relationship? It was almost the same as playing infernal affairs. This was naturally not what Chen Mengyan wanted. She really wanted to go back to the days when they were in high school. At that time, their relationship was so harmonious. Although Yang Ming was sometimes perverted, Chen Mengyan didn't dislike it. Chen Mengyan felt that she was not like Yang Ming's girlfriend at all now. The two of them looked like they were together, but they were apart. There were many things about Yang Ming that she didn't know. She didn't know what he was doing every day, and she didn't know what he was thinking. Chen Mengyan was going crazy. She didn't want to be like this. Therefore, she took the initiative to give in. Before coming to watch the movie, Chen Mengyan had already made a decision. Today, on this special day, she was ready to lay her cards on the table with Yang Ming and put everything on the table. In this way, there would be no gap between the two of them. However, although Chen Mengyan gave in, there was also a limit. Although she acquiesced to Lan Ling's existence, she didn't say that she would accept it. Of course, this was already Chen Mengyan's limit. It was not easy to let our female lead, the jealous student, make such a concession. At least, Yang Ming was quite satisfied now. Yang Ming listened to Chen Mengyan's words, and his heart was suddenly touched. He gently hugged Chen Mengyan, and Chen Mengyan seemed to be aware of something, and quietly closed her eyes. Chapter 370. Kissing was no stranger to Yang Ming. He wasn't a virgin anymore. He had kissed Lan Ling and Xiao Qing before, but it was his first time kissing Chen Mengyan. Yang Ming smelled the faint fragrance of Chen Mengyan, and he was somewhat obsessed. Yes, although Yang Ming's feelings for Lan Ling and Xiao Qing were very deep, and they had a closer relationship, Yang Ming's feelings for Chen Mengyan were very special. He had a crush on her for 3 years in high school. What was the concept? Moreover, the identity of Yang Ming and Chen Mengyan had a gap between heaven and earth. Study commissary and poor student. At that time, Chen Mengyan was like a goddess in Yang Ming's heart, and one day, he could actually hug the goddess in his heart and let her take advantage of him. Yang Ming felt a lot of emotions. Chen Mengyan closed her eyes and waited nervously for that moment to come. Seeing that Yang Ming didn't move for a long time, she couldn't help but be anxious. What is Yang Ming doing? Why is he so slow? Can't he kiss? Chen Mengyan was a little annoyed. Didn't he do it with Lan Ling? How can he not know? Chen Mengyan was getting angrier as she thought about it. She subconsciously opened her eyes and saw Yang Ming looking at her in a daze. She was even angrier. Yang Ming, what are you doing? Let me go. As she said this, she pushed Yang Ming away. Yang Ming was suddenly overwhelmed. Mengyan, what's wrong with you? Humph. Chen Mengyan snorted and didn't answer. That, you are really beautiful. I just looked at you like a fool. Yang Ming finally realized why Chen Mengyan was angry. He quickly explained with a smile. Yes, who wouldn't be angry? The girl closed her eyes and waited for you to kiss her, but you dropped the ball at the crucial moment. It would be strange if she didn't die from anger. It would be good if she didn't beat him up. However, Yang Ming's explanation was still very appropriate, which made Chen Mengyan very happy. She pouted playfully, is that so? Am I prettier or is Lan Ling prettier? As soon as the words left her mouth, Chen Mengyan felt that she had asked a stupid question. First of all, she was Yang Ming's real girlfriend. Wouldn't she be lowering herself by comparing herself to Lan Ling? Secondly, Chen Mengyan had also read some posts on the internet, which said that smart women would never ask such questions. When Yang Ming heard Chen Mengyan's question, he was also very embarrassed. He didn't know how to answer. The two of them really couldn't be compared. They each had their own unique characteristics, and were completely different types of beauty. Chen Mengyan was pure and beautiful, while Lan Ling was adorable and cute. Both of them had their own unique characteristics. If he had to say, it would be a tie. Chen Mengyan also realized that her question was inappropriate, but she had already said it. There was no way to take it back. Moreover, she really wanted to hear Yang Ming's opinion. While she was in a daze, she felt that her mouth was overbearingly sealed by Yang Ming. Woo-woo. Chen Mengyan snorted twice, but she couldn't hear what she was saying. Although Chen Mengyan felt that it was quite sudden, she didn't struggle, nor did she reject it. Instead, she was silently kissed by Yang Ming. What should come, will come, right? Chen Mengyan was obviously kissing for the first time. She was very inexperienced. She completely relied on Yang Ming's guidance step by step. When she felt Yang Ming's tongue go deep into her mouth, Chen Mengyan was stunned. However, she also learned from Yang Ming and slowly followed. However, Chen Mengyan's heart was still a little bit unsatisfied. Why? This is my first kiss, but Yang Ming isn't. However, this thought had just arisen. Before she had time to think about it, Chen Mengyan felt that Yang Ming's hand was slowly climbing up her chest. Although she was wearing thick clothes, Chen Mengyan still couldn't help but tremble. Her mind immediately became blank. She was a little dumbfounded. Am I developing too fast with Yang Ming? Should I let him touch me? Chen Mengyan hesitated. However, another voice sounded in Chen Mengyan's mind. Fast. You two have been together for more than half a year since senior high school. Zhao Sisi slept with you in a few months. Besides, didn't I touch you before? If I stop Yang Ming now, won't I be too pretentious? Will Yang Ming be unhappy? As she was thinking about it, Yang Ming's hand began to knead her chest. Chen Mengyan couldn't help but let out a moan. Chen Mengyan was obviously inexperienced. Because she hadn't fully mastered the key of breathing during a kiss, she felt that it was difficult to breathe after kissing with Yang Ming for a while. Especially now when her heart beat faster and her breathing accelerated, Chen Mengyan was even more upset. Who? Chen Mengyan pushed Yang Ming away and took a deep breath. Then she looked up and suddenly found that Yang Ming was looking at her with an inexplicable look. Chen Mengyan then remembered that she gave up halfway. She quickly explained with embarrassment that I am a little out of breath. After Yang Ming heard it, he couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Out of breath. You can use your nose, or when we kiss. And, tilt your head slightly. There will be a gap between the two of us. Then you can breathe. It's my first time. How would I know? Chen Mengyan rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. Who is like you? So experienced. I am kindly guiding you. Why are you talking about my experience? I am self-taught. Yang Ming quibbled. In fact, when he kissed Lan Ling for the first time, both of them were burning with desire. It was a messy kiss. There was no pattern at all. However, it seemed that this wasn't Yang Ming's first kiss. The first person he kissed seemed to be Lin Jiyun. Moreover, it was 100% her. It was just that Yang Ming's memory at that time was incomplete. He forgot what it felt like. Chapter 371. Liar. How can someone learn this kind of thing without a teacher? Chen Mengyan scolded him with a smile. However, she was satisfied with Yang Ming's explanation. The more Yang Ming explained, the more it proved that Yang Ming loved her. If he didn't explain, then it would be over. It's true. Otherwise, look at the book. It's written that male and female students went to the wild for an adventure and got lost there. After N years, they were rescued with a child. If it wasn't self-taught, did they learn it from animals? Yang Ming thought of a plot in a novel. Nonsense. Chen Mengyan naturally knew that what Yang Ming said was probably true, but she didn't want to agree with his point of view. Yang Ming smiled and extended his arm to take Chen Mengyan into his arms. It will be New Year's Day in a few days. How about coming to my house? Ah. Chen Mengyan was stunned. Meet the parents. So soon. Although Chen Mengyan had already recognized Yang Ming, she still said with some embarrassment, "Is this okay? We are only in our first year of university." What's not okay? My mom already knew about you. She always told me to bring you to my house as a guest. Yang Ming said, "Why? Are you embarrassed?" Who's embarrassed? It's just that if I go, will your mom be fierce to me? Chen Mengyan was a little worried. She had seen a few TV dramas where mother-in-law and daughter-in-law didn't get along, so she was scared. How can she? My mom's biggest wish now is for me to bring a daughter-in-law back. She definitely likes you. Besides, didn't you talk to my mom on the phone? Yang Ming said. Then, okay. Chen Mengyan felt that this was quite embarrassing, but her heart was very sweet. Yang Ming brought me home. What does that mean? It means that my position in Yang Ming's heart is very important. Bringing me to see his parents is indirectly confirming my identity as the daughter-in-law of the Yang family. That Lan Ling definitely didn't receive such treatment, right? The reason was simple. If Yang Ming had brought Lan Ling home before, then it was impossible for him to bring him back. Therefore, Chen Mengyan only hesitated for a moment before agreeing. Then shouldn't I make some preparations? What should I buy? And, how should I dress up? Is it more mature or more youthful? Chen Mengyan asked, at a loss. Hee, you're just like how you usually are. You look pretty good today. Yang Ming smiled and said, as for the things, let's go buy them together. My father is willing to drink, so let's buy him 2 bottles of good wine. Well, okay, I'll listen to you. Chen Mengyan nodded and said. After settling this matter, Yang Ming also breathed a sigh of relief. In the beginning, he made a military order in front of his mother to bring Chen Mengyan home during Chinese New Year. At that time, their relationship was in a Cold War, so Yang Ming was very worried. After all, feelings couldn't be reconciled just because they wanted to. Now that this psychological problem was solved, Yang Ming was also a lot more relaxed. Finally, he had an explanation for his mother. Wait, I need to go to the toilet. Just now, he drank too much and didn't go to the toilet. A burst of urination came, so Yang Ming quickly said. Chen Mengyan was speechless. The two of them had a strong friendship. Originally, the atmosphere was just right for another kiss. In fact, Chen Mengyan was also reminiscing about the feeling just now. It was like an electric shock. It was soft and numb, and it was very addictive. Although it was a little difficult to breathe for the first time, it could still be overcome. However, she didn't expect Yang Ming to actually say such disappointing words. Yang Ming got up and passed by Zhang Bin's partition. Zhang Bin asked casually, "Where are you going?" "To the toilet." Yang Ming replied. "Wait for me. I'll go too." Zhang Bin also drank too much and was preparing to go to the toilet. The two people passed by Zhang Bin's partition. Tian Donghua also asked the same question as Zhang Bin, "Where are you going?" "To go to the toilet." Zhang Bin replied, "Are you going?" "Let's go together." Tian Donghua also stood up, and the three people went to the toilet together. Zhou Jiejie saw that Yang Ming and the others had gone out, so she stood up and walked to the partition where Chen Mengyan was. What she had to do now was to use all possible opportunities to have a good relationship with Chen Mengyan. "Hey! Jiejie, why are you here?" Chen Mengyan was stunned. She didn't expect Zhou Jiejie to come over at this time. "I didn't have any reason to stay there, so I just stood up and walked around." "Hee hee." Zhou Jiejie said casually, making Chen Mengyan feel that she didn't come here deliberately. Zhou Jiejie was actually a very smart and scheming woman. Otherwise, she couldn't become a genius hacker. However, when it came to dealing with Yang Ming, she was always stupid. This may be the case of one thing conquering another. "Yeah, Yang Ming and Wang Shui, you are next to them. It's really awkward." Chen Mengyan remembered what she had just done with Yang Ming, and she couldn't help but blush. If there was a third party present at the time, not only would they be awkward, but wouldn't the third party be even more awkward? And it's quite redundant. "Hee hee, I guess Tian Donghua hates me, right?" Zhou Jiejie said self-deprecatingly. Chen Mengyan had just experienced passion with Yang Ming. Naturally, she understood Zhou Jiejie's awkward heart, so she comforted her, "It's okay. Why don't you find a boyfriend? It will be much better the next time you come out to play." "Boyfriend?" Zhou Jiejie smiled bitterly and shook her head. "I like him, but he doesn't like me." Seeing Zhou Jiejie's disappointed look, Chen Mengyan couldn't help but feel sad. She didn't expect Zhou Jiejie to have a one-sided love. Such a beautiful girl actually has a one-sided love. "Does he know that you like him?" Chen Mengyan asked with some sympathy. "Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't know, but he seems to hate me." Zhou Jiejie said faintly. "Hate? It can't be. You are so beautiful. How can a boy hate you?" Chen Mengyan was a bit puzzled. Don't many boys take a girl's appearance as the first criterion for choosing a partner? What's the use of being beautiful? Zhou Jiejie shook her head. "You are so happy, me." Chen Mengyan was a bit bitter after listening. "Happy? Yes, I used to be very happy, but because of Lan Ling's matter, there was a trace of a grudge in the originally pure love. What's wrong?" Zhou Jiejie saw that Chen Mengyan's face wasn't very good. It seemed that there was something that was difficult to say, so she asked. Chen Mengyan wouldn't easily tell her own thoughts to others, let alone Zhou Jiejie who wasn't familiar with her. But today, she drank some wine and was a little drunk, so she couldn't help but say, "Zhou Jiejie, if your boyfriend likes other girls besides you, what will you do?" Zhou Jiejie was stunned. What does Chen Mengyan mean by this? Could it be that she noticed something? Thinking of this, she couldn't help but be shocked. But when she looked up and saw that Chen Mengyan's expression was normal. Except for some sadness in her eyes, there was no anger and hatred. She was relieved and sighed. "I don't know. I only know that if he likes me a little bit, I will be satisfied. Who cares if he likes others?" Chen Mengyan listened to Zhou Jiejie's words and couldn't help but be surprised. Zhou Jiejie can actually say such a thing. Like him a little bit. Chen Mengyan looked at Zhou Jiejie. What kind of girl is this? Her love for a person had actually reached such a level. She can be so indulgent to her lover. Chen Mengyan looked at Zhou Jiejie with some incomprehension. "You really don't care if he has other girlfriends?" "Why should I care?" Zhou Jiejie shook her head. "I care so much. In the end, I am still worried about myself. Besides, do I have the qualification to care? Now. I just want a little bit of love. I will be very satisfied. Really? Chen Mengyan shook her head helplessly. Could it be that his thinking was too traditional? Zhao Ying persuaded me like this. Zhou Jiejia's theory was even more shocking. Am I wrong? Love is selfish. Is it so difficult to have a complete love? I think so. Zhou Jiejia smiled. The reason why she said those words just now was to give Chen Mengyan a dose of precaution so that she could be mentally prepared. Hee, then I wish you a dream come true. Chen Mengyan didn't know what to say. She had to comfort Zhou Jiejia. However, this was exactly what Zhou Jiejia wanted to hear most. These words were said by Chen Mengyan, which made her very happy. Chapter 372. After Yang Ming released the water, he felt dizzy. It seemed that the alcohol was kicking in. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. It seemed that my alcohol tolerance had dropped a lot. I was a little confused after drinking only 6 bottles. It turned out that I was fine after drinking half a box. Yang Ming and the other 2 staggered back to the cinema and entered their own cubicle. Because the cinema was relatively dark, Yang Ming was still in a confused state. The most important thing was that Yang Ming didn't know that Zhou Jiejia would be in his cubicle, so he didn't use his special ability to look carefully. Yang Ming didn't even think about it. He sat next to Zhou Jiejia and hugged her directly. He kissed her little mouth. Zhou Jiejia was dumbfounded at the time. Yang Ming kissed me. What's going on? Is he interested in me? However, this was also for a moment. After thinking about it, Zhou Jiejia understood the truth of the matter. Yang Ming definitely wanted to kiss Chen Mengyan. He didn't expect that I would appear here, so he subconsciously thought of me as Chen Mengyan. Then, what should I do now? Should I push him away and tell him the truth? Zhou Jiejia's heart was swaying. Zhou Jiejia didn't reject Yang Ming's kiss at all. And to be honest, Zhou Jiejia was a little happy. Kissing the person she liked was what she had always dreamed of. But now, Yang Ming actually didn't know that she was the one he was kissing. This made Zhou Jiejia a little depressed. Yes, Yang Ming thought of me as Chen Mengyan. I'm just a substitute, forget it. Don't think so much. Let's just make the best of it. Consider it as indulging myself once and rewarding myself once. Only by tasting the sweetness can I continue to work hard in the future. Zhou Jiejia clenched her small fist. She didn't refuse nor cater. That's right. Firstly, it was her first time kissing, so she didn't know how to do it. Secondly, if she was too proactive, Chen Mengyan would see through her and she would be done for. Yang Ming's tongue had already entered Zhou Jiejia's mouth. Zhou Jiejia also let him take advantage of her. The 2 people were willing. Although they didn't have a tacit understanding, they were very coordinated. However, soon, Yang Ming felt that something was not quite right. This doesn't seem to be the same as before. This mouth seemed to be slightly smaller than Chen Mengyan's. Furthermore, there was a faint scent of mint. Yang Ming clearly remembered that he and Chen Mengyan were eating lemon-flavored chewing gum just now. Where did this peppermint smell come from? However, it was a pity that Yang Ming's current thinking was a little slow. Although he felt that something was wrong, he didn't think about why. It was because he didn't think that the person he was kissing wasn't Chen Mengyan. Yang Ming was still a little puzzled. Chen Mengyan was more proactive just now. Why was she retreating? Could it be that this little girl was shy? Chen Mengyan also looked at the scene in front of her in a daze. Her own boyfriend hugging another girl and kissing her passionately. Isn't this too ridiculous and exciting? Chen Mengyan didn't know what to do at that time. After looking for a long time, she suddenly realized and suddenly shouted, "Aw! Yang Ming, what are you doing?" And Yang Ming was stunned. Chen Mengyan asked me what I am doing. Am I not kissing you? You are asking the obvious. No. Yang Ming finally thought of something. I am sealing Chen Mengyan's mouth. How can she say that? Yang Ming suddenly became sober. He quickly looked at the person in front of him carefully. He couldn't help but be shocked. It's actually Zhou Jiejia. I kissed Zhou Jiejia. Yang Ming was so scared that he pushed Zhou Jiejia away and stuttered, why are you here? Zhou Jiejia's face was frighteningly red. She was a little ashamed when she was questioned by Yang Ming. Yes, the calmness when facing Chen Mengyan just now suddenly disappeared without a trace. In front of Yang Ming, there was only panic, heartbeat, and shyness left. Zhou Jiejia made a sound and pushed Yang Ming away. She lowered her head and quickly ran out of Yang Ming's partition and left. Yang Ming was stunned as he looked at the direction Zhou Jiejia left. He had a lot of thoughts. What is going on? How could such a huge blunder happen? Chen Mengyan looked at Yang Ming with an angry face. Her eyes were about to spit out fire. Yes, who wouldn't be angry about this? My boyfriend kissed another person in front of me. It would be strange if I wasn't angry. Mengyan, that. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed and didn't know what to say. Humph. Chen Mengyan snorted, you are really good. You did this kind of thing in front of me. Mengyan, you also saw it. It was a misunderstanding. I thought she was you. Yang Ming touched his chin and said with a bitter smile, the light here is so dim. How can I see clearly? Who would have thought that she would actually run into our partition? You can't even tell me apart. Chen Mengyan asked with a cold smile. It wasn't me. Yang Ming didn't know what to say, but this matter couldn't be blamed on him. Although it couldn't be said that he didn't have any responsibility, this was just a misunderstanding. Humph, don't explain. Explaining is trying to cover up the truth. Chen Mengyan said. Mengyan. Can you stop fooling around? Yang Ming was a little anxious, did I do it on purpose? It was so dark. Who could see clearly? Besides, if I did it on purpose, why didn't I find a place with no one to kiss her secretly? I didn't need to do it in front of you. Why are you being so fierce? You are still being reasonable. Chen Mengyan pouted her mouth and said with some grievance, I feel bad in my heart. Can't you just let me vent? You are so stingy. Humph, if I was really angry with you, do you think I would still sit here and talk to you? Forget it, forget it. I was wrong. I was wrong. Yang Ming shook his head and said helplessly. What's the use of you saying that you were wrong? Chen Mengyan's anger was vented, and her mood was a lot better. At this time, she carefully considered the seriousness of the matter. Zhou Jiejia is a girl. You kissed her forcefully. You are sorry to her now. Although Yang Ming felt that it wasn't right for him to kiss Zhou Jiejia, she ran to his partition first. Yang Ming had always suspected that this chick had ulterior motives, so he didn't think much of it in his heart. Moreover, after watching Zhou Jiejia's passionate video, Yang Ming didn't think that Zhou Jiejia, this little slut, was very pure. So what if I kissed her? I can't lose a piece of meat. She might have been kissed by many people. I can't get a mouth ulcer, right? Yang Ming thought evilly. However, this matter couldn't be told to Chen Mengyan. In the current situation, Chen Mengyan was obviously protecting Zhou Jiejia. I don't know what this chick gave Chen Mengyan. She actually made Chen Mengyan, who liked to be jealous, side with her. Well, I will apologize to her in a while. Yang Ming nodded. Apologize. Zhou Jiejie is a very pure girl. She doesn't even have a boyfriend. Aren't you ruining her innocence? Chen Mengyan was a little annoyed with Yang Ming's recklessness. What should I do? I can't be responsible for her, right? Yang Ming rolled his eyes and said. You are dreaming. Even if I agree that you are responsible for her, Zhou Jiejie may not let you be responsible. Chen Mengyan snorted and said, Zhou Jiejie has someone she likes. Moreover, her love is very deep. Yang Ming listened to Chen Mengyan's words and couldn't help but frown. In my impression, Zhou Jiejie isn't the kind of person who casually confides in others. What is her purpose of approaching Chen Mengyan? Is she really interested in me? Yang Ming would rather believe that the earth was square than believe that Zhou Jiejie would like him. Well, then what do you say? Yang Ming sighed and spread his hands as he looked at Chen Mengyan. Forget it. I will help you test Zhou Jiejie's tone in a while. Really? You have cheated on her, and you still want me to clean up the mess for you. I am probably the first girlfriend like me. Chen Mengyan said in a bad mood. That. I saw in online novels that there are girlfriends who help their boyfriends find girlfriends. Yang Ming whispered. You also said that that is a novel. Chen Mengyan said faintly. However, this sentence made Yang Ming speechless. Indeed, that is a novel. Find one in real life. Yang Ming was speechless. He had to look at Chen Mengyan pitifully. Don't look at me like that. Let me tell you. You are not allowed to kiss me again today. I don't want other women's saliva to enter my mouth. Chen Mengyan tilted her head and said. Chen Mengyan didn't dislike you. Yang Ming was immediately aroused by Chen Mengyan's words. He picked up Chen Mengyan and kissed her. Yeah. What are you doing? Woo-woo. The poor Chen Mengyan had to indirectly enjoy a 3P kiss. Chapter 373. Zhou Jiejie wasn't annoyed by Yang Ming's recklessness. On the contrary, she was very willing. After all, if Zhou Jiejie resisted strongly, Yang Ming wouldn't have succeeded. Even if he succeeded, he wouldn't have kissed her non-stop. Zhou Jiejie returned to the partition with a red face and sat next to Wang Shui. She was in a daze, and there was a silly smile on her face. It made Wang Shui somewhat inexplicable. What happened to this child? She went out and came back with a silly look. Hey, Jiejie, what happened to you? Wang Shui asked softly. Zhou Jiejie didn't hear her question at all. She was still in a daze. Jiejie. Wang Shui called again. She still didn't hear it. Jiejie, what happened to you? Wang Shui pushed Zhou Jiejie. This time, Zhou Jiejie finally reacted. She looked up inexplicably and looked at Wang Shui. Ah. Wang Shui, what's the matter? What's the matter? I asked you what's wrong. Wang Shui said with some blame, Jiejie, why are you in a daze? Why are you still smirking? Ah. Am I smirking? Hee hee. Zhou Jiejie looked at Wang Shui and smirked. Wang Shui was scared. Jiejie, are you crazy? No. I'm just very happy, hee hee. Zhou Jiejie continued to smirk. Wang Shui shook her head. Tian Donghua was sitting next to her, so Wang Shui couldn't ask more. She could only ask after returning to the dormitory. The movie they watched today was a foreign blockbuster. Yang Ming wasn't very interested in this kind of movie. Moreover, the two people didn't just come to watch the movie. They just wanted to feel the effect of the 3D cinema. The rest was to secretly do something that couples could do. Yang Ming and Chen Mengyan lingered for a while. Couples in love were always very attached to each other. So, until the end of the movie, the two still didn't understand the meaning of the whole movie. After the movie ended, Zhang Bin directly pulled Zhao Sisi to get a room. Yang Ming and Chen Mengyan obviously hadn't reached that stage yet. The two of them had just reconciled, so it was obviously inappropriate for them to get a room directly. Everything had to be done one step at a time, right? There would be a day when the conditions were right. At this time, Yang Ming had already sobered up, so he went to the entrance of the hot pot city with Tian Donghua to pick up the car and return to school. This time, without Zhang Bin and the others, Zhou Jiejie had no reason to sit in Yang Ming's car again. Moreover, there was such an embarrassing scene just now. Naturally, it was even more inappropriate to sit in his car again. However, when Zhou Jiejie wanted to get into Zhang Bin's car that was now driven by Tian Donghua, Chen Mengyan called her, Zhou Jiejie. Ah! What's the matter? Zhou Jiejie was shocked. She quickly turned around and asked. Come on. Let's sit together. Chen Mengyan greeted her enthusiastically. In fact, she wanted to solve Yang Ming's mistaken kiss incident as soon as possible to avoid the situation from escalating. Me? Go over. Zhou Jiejie was stunned. She didn't expect that she had no reason to hitch a ride. Instead, Chen Mengyan found a reason for her. Seeing that Chen Mengyan nodded, Zhou Jiejie carefully walked over and sat in Yang Ming's car. She looked like a concubine who was reprimanded by the main wife in the past. Chen Mengyan took the initiative to sit in the back seat of the Jetta, side by side with Zhou Jiejie. This made Zhou Jiejie somewhat flattered. Jiejie, I'm sorry. Chen Mengyan took the initiative to apologize first. She couldn't help it. Who asked her boyfriend to get into trouble? Ah. Mengyan, why are you apologizing to me? Chen Mengyan's sudden apology made Zhou Jiejie somewhat at a loss. However, since Chen Mengyan called her Jiejie, then she also affectionately called Chen Mengyan as Mengyan. Yang Ming accidentally mistook you for me. So, please don't mind. Chen Mengyan whispered, I hope you can forgive him. Don't pursue his responsibility, okay? This. Zhou Jiejie was somewhat overwhelmed. She never thought of pursuing Yang Ming's responsibility. Chen Mengyan saw that Zhou Jiejie didn't express her opinion. Instead, she showed a strange look. She was anxious and quickly explained, Jiejie, you also know that Yang Ming is a reckless person. Can you not make it difficult for him? Zhou Jiejie reacted. It turned out that Chen Mengyan really wanted to apologize to her. Zhou Jiejie almost blurted out that she had nothing to do with it. She wouldn't pursue it. However, she thought about it again. If she expressed her opinion quickly, it would easily cause Chen Mengyan to misunderstand. Moreover, if she felt wronged, it might be an opportunity to win Chen Mengyan's sympathy. Then what should I do? Zhou Jiejie hesitated and said. I will let him apologize to you. Do you think that's okay? Chen Mengyan didn't know how to compensate Zhou Jiejie. Indeed, if it was another person who kissed her, she would have been mad. I don't know. I have never encountered such a thing. Zhou Jiejie shook her head and said with grievance. Yes, indeed, this kind of mishap can be encountered a few times in a lifetime. How could Zhou Jiejie be so unlucky to encounter it? And the initiator is my boyfriend, Yang Ming. Chen Mengyan had a headache for a while. If Zhou Jiejie took this matter to heart in the future, then it would be troublesome. If Zhou Jiejie took things too hard because of this matter, then Yang Ming would become a sinner. Chen Mengyan sighed and had to comfort her, Jia, I know that you must be very uncomfortable in your heart now, but Yang Ming didn't mean it. How about I let him treat you to a meal? Buy you a gift as an apology. It was also the first time that Chen Mengyan dealt with this kind of thing, so she didn't speak in an organized manner. She didn't know how to comfort Zhou Jia. She could only make some requests that seemed to be coaxing a child. Zhou Jia had never encountered such a thing, so when Chen Mengyan proposed this childish compensation request, Zhou Jia really thought about how to get closer to Yang Ming in this way of compensation. After thinking about it for a long time, Zhou Jia felt that she had to take advantage of others. So if she really wanted to be with Yang Ming in the future, if she wanted to get past Chen Mengyan, she had to let Chen Mengyan feel that Yang Ming was guilty of her. Then, Chen Mengyan wouldn't blame her too much, right? Therefore, Zhou Jia decided that she didn't need any compensation. She would just let it go. Then, I just let it go. Zhou Jia's meaning really wanted to express that this matter was just let it go. However, Chen Mengyan felt that it was like a rhetorical question. She thought that Zhou Jia meant that this matter couldn't be let go. So she couldn't help but frown. If I don't let it go, what else do you want? Do you want Yang Ming to be responsible for you? Or, you can just think of it as the person you like kissing you. Is that okay? Anyway, you can't see clearly in the dark. If you think like this, your heart should feel better, right? Chen Mengyan said a funny reason. However, in fact, Zhou Jia didn't need to think about it at all. Yang Ming was the person she liked, so she didn't have any psychological burden at all. However, after listening to Chen Mengyan's explanation, Zhou Jia was puzzled again. I gave up pursuing it. What does Chen Mengyan mean by this? Could it be that she had really seen through something and had been using words to trick me? And it is very possible. The girl in front of me is obviously not stupid, so I have to be careful. Don't be fooled. Zhou Jia thought so. As for Chen Mengyan, when she saw that Chen Mengyan didn't speak, she thought that her words just now had stimulated her. She hurriedly apologized, Jia. I didn't mean that, although Yang Ming may not be as good as the person you like, he is also very good. Chen Mengyan was a little indiscriminate. Her words were even more incoherent. But the more she said this, the more frightened Zhou Jia was. He is also very good. What does this mean? Chen Mengyan is promoting Yang Ming to me. Could it be that this was also a test of him? Ah. I didn't mean that. In fact, Yang Ming is also very good. Zhou Jia carefully replied vaguely. She said this ambiguously to test Chen Mengyan. And, very good. Chen Mengyan also nodded stupidly. Then this matter, these two women with high IQ actually had such a low IQ secret dialogue. After talking for a long time, the other party didn't understand the meaning of the other party. However, the matter was resolved. Chen Mengyan at least knew that Zhou Jia wouldn't pursue Yang Ming. She was just wondering why Zhou Jia didn't pursue it. She didn't even want a little compensation. Zhou Jia was also very puzzled. Why do I feel that Chen Mengyan seems to have a hidden meaning in her words? But thinking about it carefully, it doesn't seem to be the case. Chapter 374. Back in the dormitory, Zhou Jia carefully fiddled with the rose in her hand. She was afraid of breaking it. She carefully picked it up and looked at it. Jia, what are you doing? Why are you so weird today? It's just a broken flower. Don't you usually receive a lot of flowers? Wang Shui asked, puzzled. Even if it was given by Yang Ming, there was no need to be like this. It's just a thing, and it doesn't represent any special meaning. This Zhou Jia is really obsessed. Where's the vase? Where's my vase? Zhou Jijia didn't bother with Wang Shui. Instead, she jumped up from the bed and began to rummage for the vase. Your vase. Didn't Miao Miao use it as a pen holder in the next dormitory? Did you forget? Wang Shui reminded her. Oh, yes, it seems to be. Zhou Jijia rushed out of the dormitory and then ran to the next dormitory. Under the very surprised eyes of the people in the next dormitory, Zhou Jijia poured out the pen in the vase and then took the vase back. Ugh! Is that Zhou Jijia? The girl in the next dormitory asked. Looking at the appearance, it is. Could it be that she was possessed by the soul? The girl in the next dormitory said. It's very possible. Girl C shook her head. Zhou Jijia ran to the bathroom and cleaned the vase. Then, she returned to the dormitory and inserted the roses by the bed. Wang Shui was dumbfounded. After Zhou Jijia finished all of this, she breathed a sigh of relief and said to herself, I will keep this flower like this, keep it. How many days can you keep it? Wang Shui looked at Zhou Jijia's obsessed look and said angrily, Jijia, don't be silly. How many days can it live if you keep it like this? It will die in 2 or 3 days. It will die by then. Ah. You're right. Zhou Jijia patted her head. I blame myself for being too impatient. Why didn't I think of this? Zhou Jijia shook her head with self-deprecation. Wang Shui, how can I make the flower not wither? Not wither. Do you think it's a flower demon? Wang Shui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She shook her head helplessly and said, Jijia, can you not be like this? Wasn't it just a flower? Is it necessary? Yeah, why didn't I think of that? Zhou Jijia only heard the first half of Wang Shui's sentence and turned a deaf ear to the second half. Wang Shui, where do you think there is a place to make specimens? You go to the gift shop and ask. Wang Shui was helpless. It seemed that Zhou Jijia didn't listen to her advice at all. She was a little obsessed. Hence, he changed the topic. Oh right, Jijia, what did Chen Mengyan say to you just now? Wasn't she Yang Ming's girlfriend? Why are they looking for you? Ah, nothing. Although Zhou Jijia and Wang Shui had a very close relationship, she was still embarrassed to say such a shameful thing like being kissed by Yang Ming. Strange, Jia Jia, you are really strange today. Wang Shui frowned and sighed. Zhou Jijia was lying on the bed in a daze. She looked at the vase on the bedside and giggled from time to time. When Yang Ming returned to the dormitory, Chen Fei's phone call came in. Yang Ming was somewhat inexplicable. What's going on with this Uncle Chen? It's the middle of the night. It's almost 2:00. Why is he calling so late? Hello, Uncle Chen, what's the matter? Yang Ming asked curiously. Oh, Yang Ming, it's nothing. Where are you? Chen Fei was actually afraid that Yang Ming would take Chen Mengyan somewhere to spend the night. As a father, he was obviously very concerned, so there was this phone call. I'm at school. What's wrong, Uncle Chen? Yang Ming replied inexplicably. It's nothing. It's the end of the year. The public security outside isn't very good. I'm just worried about you. Chen Fei smiled. Worried about me? Yang Ming was even more inexplicable. Uncle Chen, don't forget that I once faced 2 ferocious gangsters. I even killed one, and I'm relieved that you're back at school. Then it's fine. Rest early. Chen Fei sighed in relief and hung up the phone. The pitiful hearts of parents in the world. Yang Ming edited a few text messages and sent them to Zhao Ying, Li Dagong, Su Peng, Yang Xiaobo, and others. The general idea was to wish them a Merry Christmas. Suddenly, Young Ming thought of Lin Jiyun and quickly sent her a message. However, Lin Jiyun didn't actually rest. She quickly replied with a message, "You haven't slept yet. Did you just come back from accompanying your girlfriend?" Yang Ming held the phone and was a little embarrassed. Lin Jiyun was now his girlfriend in name. Now that she asked this question, Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. "Ugh. I haven't slept." "You haven't slept either." Yang Ming deliberately avoided the question of just coming back from a trip with Qin Mengyan. "Not yet. A few of my mother's friends for many years came home. We spent Christmas Eve together. It was very lively. They just went back. I accompanied my mother to pack up." Lin Jiyun replied. "I see. Is your leg better?" asked Yang Ming. "And there's basically no problem now." "Right, Yang Ming, can you come to my house tomorrow? My mother just told me to call you over." Lin Jiyun replied. Yang Ming looked at the message and thought about it a little. Yeah, it's reasonable to say that today's Christmas Eve is for couples to go out and play together. I actually didn't ask Lin Jiyun out. This seems a bit unreasonable. It's hard to guarantee that Mother Lin won't be suspicious. Yang Ming patted his head. I miscalculated. Even if I went to Lin Jiyun's place to take a look, it would have been good. No wonder Lin Jiyun just asked me if I went to accompany my girlfriend and just came back. Did your mother suspect anything? Yang Ming quickly sent a message over. After a long time, Lin Jiyun replied, My mother asked me if we had a fight. I told her that we didn't. You went to tutor Wu Zhongjie today. She saw that you sent me a text message just now. She should be relieved. If you have something tomorrow, then you don't have to come. Something? I have to come even if I have something to do. Yang Ming's feelings for Lin Jiyun were very strange and overbearing. There was a strong sense of protecting and duty-bound. As long as it was Lin Jiyun's matter, even if Yang Ming had a big matter, he had to put it aside first to do her thing. Therefore, Yang Ming replied without thinking, I will go. I will go tomorrow morning. You can tell Auntie Shin that I will be there at around 9 o'clock. Is that okay? Well, then you should rest early. Otherwise, can you wake up tomorrow? Lin Jiyun replied. Okay, you should sleep too. Sleep together. Good night. Yang Ming sent a message with some ambiguity. Lin Jiyun didn't reply again. He didn't know if she understood. In fact, Lin Jiyun certainly understood Yang Ming's text message. For such a sensitive word like sleep together, she suddenly blushed. She remembered the memory fragment of her naked encounter with Yang Ming in the hotel. She couldn't help but feel hot all over. From the hatred for Yang Ming at that time, to the peace of mind later, and now. Lin Jiyun found that she had an indescribable feeling for Yang Ming. In short, when she was with Yang Ming, there was a slight feeling of her heart beating faster. It was a little exciting, a little enjoyable, but it was more of a fear. Lin Jiyun had never liked any boy since she was a child. Because of her family conditions, she didn't think about other things except for studying. This was also the reason why she lacked the wisdom of the world. Therefore, Lin Jiyun didn't know what it felt like to like a person. This also caused her to be unaware of Yang Ming's shadow in her heart. Although Lin Jiyun always reminded herself that she couldn't have any substantial relationship with Yang Ming, because the relationship between the two people was fake. Moreover, Yang Ming had a girlfriend, but Lin Jiyun didn't know that feelings couldn't be controlled so well. If feelings could be controlled, then there wouldn't be so many unrequited love in this world. Facing the last ambiguous text message from Yang Ming, Lin Jiyun obviously didn't know how to reply, so she simply pretended to be asleep and didn't reply. Although she pretended to be asleep, in fact, Lin Jiyun didn't sleep for half the night. She didn't know why, but when she thought of Yang Ming, she felt sweet in her heart. Yang Ming tossed around for a night and soon fell asleep. However, what he didn't know was that this night, 3 people were destined to have insomnia, and they were all insomnia for the same person. These 3 people were Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and of course, Zhou Jiejia. Chapter 375. Chen Mengyan returned to the dormitory. Her heart was still in a mess. She and Yang Ming finally made substantial progress. In fact, Chen Mengyan's heart wasn't very important to these things. Although she was more conservative, she had already recognized Yang Ming in her heart. She thought that he was the only man in her life. Then, other things became not very important. For kissing and even going to the hotel, Chen Mengyan wasn't very repulsed. She just felt a little scared. Originally, before she came today, she also thought about whether Yang Ming would ask to take her out for the night. Chen Mengyan was still very nervous. She didn't know what she should do. Although she didn't rule it out, it was impossible for Chen Mengyan not to be nervous when it happened. Just now, when Zhang Bin said that he would take Zhao Sisi to the hotel, Chen Mengyan was so nervous that she couldn't stand still. Fortunately, Yang Ming didn't ask for anything. He just sent her back to school. However, sometimes people were so contradictory. Fear was fear. Now that things didn't happen, Chen Mengyan began to think more. Is Yang Ming not interested in me? Why did he do that with Lan Ling, but he never asked for me? Am I not as good as Lan Ling? As a result, Chen Mengyan spent the night in a daze, letting her imagination run wild. Early the next morning, Yang Ming rushed to Lin Jiyun's house in Ho Jinhan's broken Jetta. Originally, Yang Ming wanted to buy some fruit, but because it was Christmas Eve yesterday, many vendors were open all night and didn't close until the morning. So, in the early morning of Christmas, the street was very deserted. There weren't even many cars. When he arrived at Lin Jiyun's house, Yang Ming knocked on the door. It was Shen Yueping who opened the door. When she saw Yang Ming, she immediately greeted him enthusiastically. Yang Ming, you are here. And, hello Auntie Shen. Merry Christmas. Yang Ming said, where is Jiyun? Jiyun texted you in the middle of the night last night. Then, she was so excited that she couldn't sleep for half the night. She just fell asleep at 4 o'clock. Now, she is resting. Shen Yueping said. If that's the case, then do you want me to come back later? Yang Ming said with some embarrassment. Why would you come back later? You and Yun Er aren't outsiders. I will go out later. You wait for her at home. Shen Yueping said, go to her room. Oh, okay. Yang Ming nodded. Poor Lin Jiyun. She was sleeping soundly. How would she know that her mother actually pushed a man into her bedroom? Although Yang Ming was Lin Jiyun's boyfriend in disguise, both of them knew about each other, but they didn't expose each other. Therefore, the relationship between the two of them wasn't considered intimate, but it was still quite ambiguous. If it were another person, no matter how perverted Yang Ming was, he wouldn't simply enter a girl's bedroom when she was sleeping. However, Lin Jiyun was different. Yang Ming originally held the idea of being responsible for her, so there was no problem of avoiding it. When he pushed the door into Lin Jiyun's bedroom, he saw Lin Jiyun sleeping. At this moment, Lin Jiyun was riding on the quilt. One of her snow-white legs was exposed outside the quilt. Yang Ming really wanted to touch it. Lin Jiyun had a faint smile at the corner of her mouth. Her little face was flushed with a sparkling luster. Her long eyelashes were so cute that Yang Ming really wanted to kiss her. However, before Lin Jiyun accepted him, Yang Ming could still restrain himself. He was just thinking about it. He couldn't really do anything. Yang Ming got up and pulled Lin Jiyun's quilt. He covered her exposed legs so that she wouldn't catch a cold. After a while, the sound of the door closing came from outside the house. Apparently, Auntie Shin had left. Yang Ming didn't have the heart to disturb Lin Jiyun, so he sat quietly and waited for her to wake up. After a while, Lin Jiyun suddenly made a lazy moan. Apparently, she had woken up. Yang Ming was about to greet her, but he saw Lin Jiyun hurriedly get up from the bed. She said to herself, "Where are the slippers? Where are the slippers? I can't take it anymore. I'm going to wet the bed." After that, she stepped on the slippers and ran out of the door quickly. Yang Ming was stunned. Fuck, could it be that my ability was automatically activated? Why is Lin Jiyun naked? Just now, Yang Ming only felt a blur in front of his eyes. A white female body passed by his eyes. Yang Ming saw the two bright red spots on her chest and the black spots below her body clearly. Could it be that the function of the glasses automatically upgraded again? Why is Lin Jiyun naked? Yang Ming thought inexplicably. Moreover, Lin Jiyun didn't seem to notice him at all. Could it be that the glasses have a stealth function? However, the answer was immediately revealed. Yang Ming thought too much. The glasses didn't change, but Lin Jiyun was indeed naked. Moreover, he wasn't invisible. Lin Jiyun, who went to the bathroom, also woke up a lot. She hurried back to her bedroom. The reason why she dared to run out naked was because her father wasn't at home recently. It was just her and her mother, so there was no need to avoid anything. Otherwise, Lin Jiyun would definitely put on her clothes first. Lin Jiyun looked at the clock hanging on the wall of the hall. It was actually more than 10 o'clock. Why isn't Yang Ming here yet? It seems that my mother has already left. Lin Jiyun shook her head and was ready to go back to the room to put on her clothes. But she didn't expect that when she opened the bedroom door, she suddenly found a person sitting in front of the desk. That person was Yang Ming. Ah! Lin Jiyun screamed and hurriedly covered the important parts of her body. But unfortunately, she only had 2 hands. If she covered the top, she couldn't cover the bottom. If she covered the bottom, she could only cover half of the top. Ugh! Actually, I didn't see anything. Yang Ming said as he sweated. Stop it. Lin Jiyun listened to Yang Ming's words and was so angry that her face turned red. She quickly went back to her bed. You still don't want to go out? Okay. I will go out now. Yang Ming shook his head. This matter, AI. In fact, it was reasonable to say that Yang Ming was responsible for this. He just saw it once. When Lin Jiyun didn't notice him, he quickly hid in another room. However, Yang Ming didn't think that Lin Jiyun wasn't wearing clothes at the time, but he felt that his special ability had upgraded or failed. As a result, this scene happened. If it was another person, it would be fine. But Yang Ming had this special ability of X-ray vision, so he hesitated and didn't hide. However, this kind of thing couldn't be explained to Lin Jiyun. Yang Ming had to force himself to walk out of Lin Jiyun's bedroom awkwardly and then close the door for her. Lin Jiyun now wished that there was a hole to hide in. She was exposed too much. Although it wasn't a big deal to be seen by him, she was still embarrassed. Lin Jiyun felt that she didn't have the face to see Yang Ming. Isn't this too shameful? However, this wasn't a big deal. Now, Lin Jiyun could only pray that Yang Ming entered her bedroom after she went to the bathroom. Otherwise, wouldn't her previous sentence of, "I'm going to wet the bed," make her even more ashamed? A girl actually said such a thing in front of a boy. She felt that she didn't have the face to see him. Lin Jiyun quickly put on her clothes and struggled for a long time. She took a deep breath and opened the bedroom door. When she saw Yang Ming sitting on the sofa in the living room, she didn't know what to say. She could only cough deliberately. Ji-yoon, you are dressed. Sorry, I didn't know you were naked. Yang Ming scratched his head and said with some embarrassment. Lin Ji-yoon obviously didn't want to pursue and didn't want to continue this topic. She just wanted to figure out when Yang Ming came, so she asked, when did you come? I didn't know. Oh, I came over at 9 o'clock. Auntie Shin asked me to wait for you to wake up in your bedroom. Yang Ming explained, you also know that we are now in a relationship. If I didn't go, Auntie Shin would definitely be suspicious, so I didn't refuse. But I just sat aside honestly. Yang Ming naturally declared his innocence first. He didn't do anything. However, Lin Ji-yoon couldn't care about this now. Looking at the situation, Yang Ming must have heard the sentence that I just said. Yang Ming looked at Lin Ji-yoon's face that turned red and white. He couldn't help but ask, Ji-yoon, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so bad? Didn't you rest well last night? Or, did you hold your pee for too long? Ha! Lin Ji-yoon was shocked. She didn't expect that Yang Ming would actually say such a thing. Ugh! It's not suitable for a girl to hold her pee. It can easily lead to urethritis and bladder rupture. Yang Ming didn't mean to make fun of Lin Ji-yoon. On the contrary, he was very concerned about Lin Ji-yoon. He was reading the news on the internet and accidentally saw a news article. It said that a girl drank soda before going to bed and failed to urinate in time, resulting in a bladder rupture. In fact, he was also applying what he learned. Chapter 376. Ah! Lin Ji-yoon was really stunned. She stared at Yang Ming with her mouth wide open. I'm also concerned about you. Hee hee. Yang Ming felt that it was inappropriate for a man to talk about this topic with a girl. Isn't there a saying that goes, don't be afraid of the doctor when you're sick? Or something. In short, I'm now acting as a doctor, okay. Let's not talk about this. Lin Ji-yoon noticed that Yang Ming wasn't done yet. She didn't care about being shy anymore and quickly said perfunctorily, I'm fine, hee hee. Yang Ming laughed twice. I'm going to tidy myself up. You wait for me first. Lin Ji-yoon hadn't brushed her hair and washed her face yet. It wasn't appropriate to face Yang Ming with her messy hair. Okay, you go ahead. Yang Ming nodded and said, do you need me to leave? Is it still useful to leave now? Lin Ji-yoon snorted. She glared at Yang Ming and hurried into the bathroom. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. What does Lin Ji-yoon mean? Does she mean that I can continue to peek? Since it's allowed, can I use my special ability? Yang Ming thought very evilly. Today, Lin Ji-yoon didn't wear her white down jacket, but she wore a black coat. This coat wasn't of good quality. It should be something that cost dozens of yuan in the night market. However, it fit Lin Ji-yoon very well. Go shopping. Yang Ming suggested. Shopping. Lin Ji-yoon was stunned and asked, aren't you going to accompany your girlfriend? Aren't you my girlfriend? Yang Ming pretended not to understand. Lin Ji-yoon was speechless and shook her head. You know who I'm talking about. You're wearing a coat. Aren't you going shopping with me? Yang Ming didn't answer Lin Ji-yoon's question. I'm wearing clothes to go to school. Lin Ji-yoon said, I hurt my leg. I haven't been to school for a few days. Let's go. I'm your boyfriend now. If I don't go shopping with you for Christmas, Auntie Shin will be dissatisfied with me again. Yang Ming said with a smile, besides, I don't think there will be many students going to class today. Maybe the school has already changed it to self-study. Nonsense, do you think everyone is skipping class like you? Lin Jiyun smiled and said, "Well, where do you want to go? Let's just walk around the business district." Yang Ming suggested, "I'll buy you 2 sets of clothes." Buying clothes. Lin Jiyun hesitated. "Yang Ming, in fact, our current relationship is just to deceive my parents. You don't have to spend so much money." "What do you mean by spending money? Even if we're good friends, shouldn't we give each other some gifts for Christmas?" Yang Ming interrupted Lin Jiyun's words and continued, "Besides, buying clothes for you is also to deceive Auntie Shen. Please, I'm your boyfriend now. I don't want to be looked down upon by your mother." Hee hee. Lin Jiyun listened to Yang Ming's words and couldn't help but smile. "Well, then, don't buy anything that's too expensive." Okay. Just buy it with the tutoring fee for these few days. Anyway, this is what you deserve." Yang Ming nodded and said. The 2 people went out. Coincidentally, they actually met Auntie Hong from the snack bar. Lin Jiyun, Yang Ming. Auntie Hong's memory was particularly good. She could call out the name of the person she had met once. "Auntie Hong, hello. Merry Christmas." Yang Ming smiled and greeted Auntie Hong. "Auntie Hong." Lin Jiyun also called. She was a bit puzzled. How did Yang Ming know Auntie Hong? The 2 of them just had a meal at Auntie Hong's place. "Let's go out and play together?" asked Auntie Hong. "Yeah, Auntie Hong, where are you going?" Lin Jiyun nodded shyly and asked. "I'm going to the market to buy some goods. There are a few dishes at home that are almost gone," said Auntie Hong. "Auntie Hong, how are you going?" asked Yang Ming. "I'm taking the bus." Auntie Hong smiled and said, "When you come back, you can take a taxi. When you go there, you didn't take anything. Of course, you have to take the bus. Jiyun and I are going to the commercial street, just in front of the market. Let's go together." Yang Ming said. "Okay." Auntie Hong nodded. She thought that Yang Ming was talking about taking the bus together, so she didn't care. When they were out of the alley, Yang Ming opened the door of the Jetta and said to Auntie Hong, "Auntie Hong, get in the car. The car is a bit broken. Don't mind it." "Aw. You have a car." Auntie Hong was a little surprised. Although this car didn't look very good, it was unrealistic for a small family like her to keep a car. "Yours?" Lin Jiyun was also a little surprised because in the past, Yang Ming always drove Zhang Bin's Pentium. "No, it's a friend of mine," Yang Ming said. Lin Jiyun had been accustomed to Yang Ming's statement. From the time Yang Ming knew her until now, Yang Ming had driven 3 cars. From the beginning of the Buick business, to the later Fa Pentium, and now to the current Jetta. Auntie Hong didn't care. Many of the taxis she took weren't as good as this one. Yang Ming started the car and drove Auntie Hong to the market first. Then, he drove to the commercial street. After parking the car in the parking lot, Yang Ming and Lin Jiyun got out of the car together. The strange thing was that this was a paid parking lot, but the toll collector turned a blind eye to Yang Ming's car. After collecting the fee by the side, he went straight to collect the fees of other cars. Obviously, this couldn't be ignored by the toll collector. Yesterday, Yang Ming had some doubts about the performance of the security captain at the entrance of the hotel. From the association to today's incident, Yang Ming could be sure that these people obviously knew Ho Jinhan's car. It seemed that Ho Jinhan's reputation had been established. Of course, it couldn't be ruled out that this parking lot was Bao Sanli's property. Even if it wasn't, disputes were easy to occur in public places like the parking lot, especially those who didn't want to pay for parking. At this time, it was necessary for the gangsters to come forward. Therefore, this place was more or less related to Bao Sanli. Don't underestimate the parking fee of 3 or 5 yuan each time. In a day, it was tens of thousands of income. However, it was better if no one collected the money. Yang Ming was too lazy to ask the reason. He took Lin Jiyun directly to the commercial street. The two walked into a shop selling casual clothes. The clothes in this shop weren't very expensive, and the quality was okay. Yang Ming always bought clothes in this kind of place. Both of you, there is a Christmas special for couple outfits. If you buy couple outfits, you will get a concentric lock necklace. A waiter greeted them enthusiastically. Most of the people who came to this kind of low-end casual shop were student couples. Therefore, in order to attract customers, these shops were racking their brains to find an excuse to do some promotions and special offers. Generally speaking, these shops were promoting all year round, but this was also an important reason why there were so many customers in this kind of shop. Couple outfits. Lin Jiyun was stunned. Yes, it was Christmas. A man and a woman coming out to shop was obviously easy to be regarded as a couple. What are the styles? Yang Ming asked casually. Student, please take a look here. These are all the Christmas special sale price. This couple's vest is 99 yuan per set. This couple's windbreaker is 268 yuan per set. If you buy the couple's windbreaker, you will get a pair of concentric lock necklace. If you buy the couple's windbreaker, you will get 2 couple scarves. The waiter introduced skillfully. Jiyun, what do you think of this small vest? Yang Ming felt that this set of vest was good. He didn't have this kind of thing, so he could buy one. Moreover, the price wasn't expensive. Ah. Lin Jiyun suddenly had no idea. Buy couple outfits. Yang Ming and we are becoming more and more like a real couple. It's okay, student. You can try it on. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter if you buy it or not. The waiter said. And then you find a set for us. Look at our figures. What size do you want? Asked Yang Ming. Both of you can wear L size. Student, both of you are a good match, unlike some couples. Their figures are so different that they can't even wear couple outfits. The waiter didn't forget to praise. Yang Ming laughed twice after listening, but Lin Jiyun lowered her head. Needless to say, this waiter's eyesight was still good. They tried it on, and it fit. So, Yang Ming didn't intend to take it off. He asked Lin Jiyun, what do you think? I think it's okay. Although Lin Jiyun also felt that the design of this small vest was very good, and it was very warm, because it was a couple outfit, Lin Jiyun was embarrassed to say that it was particularly good. And then we will buy it and wear it. Yang Ming nodded to the waiter and said. Okay, please come here. I will take you to pay. The waiter took Yang Ming and the others to the cashier, paid the money, and gave the receipt to Yang Ming. Yang Ming turned and was about to leave, but Lin Jiyun suddenly remembered that the waiter just said that there was a gift. She was a careful girl, so she quickly asked, what about our gift? Chapter 377. It's here. I'll get it for you. The salesperson thought that she could save a set of gifts. She didn't expect this girl to remember it. She quickly took a set of gift necklaces and handed them to Lin Jiyun. After getting the gift, Lin Jiyun was very happy to walk out of the clothing store with Yang Ming as if she got a big bargain. This necklace looks like a street stall product, right? Yang Ming smiled indifferently and pointed to the necklace in Lin Jiyun's hand. But he promised to give it to us. Why don't we take it? Lin Jiyun said. You didn't wear it even if you wanted it. What's the use of it? Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. Many times it was like this. When people bought things, they were very concerned about the gift. When they really took the gift home, it became a useless waste. Why didn't I wear it? Who said I didn't wear it? Lin Jiyun was reminded by Yang Ming. She directly put the heart of the heartlock necklace on her neck. Hee hee. Yang Ming smiled and picked up his own necklace and put it on his neck. The two people smiled at each other and a tacit understanding arose spontaneously. Lin Jiyun. At this time, a young man and a young woman came from the opposite side. The woman greeted Lin Jiyun. Zhang Xiaoyuan. Lin Jiyun also saw the girl opposite and was a little surprised. Isn't this the pure and innocent girl in our class? Why? You have a boyfriend too. Zhang Xiaoyuan smiled and said, how should I address this handsome guy? Hello, my name is Yang Ming. Yang Ming didn't know the relationship between the person in front of him and Lin Jiyun, so he just replied faintly. Yo. That's pretty cool. Zhang Xiaoyuan smiled. What are you wearing? Isn't this the necklace that was given as a promotion in the store? Why are you wearing such a rubbish thing on your neck? Hurry up and ask your husband to buy you a platinum necklace. Just like this one of mine. Although Zhang Xiaoyuan was smiling, there was an unspeakable pride in her tone. The little fatty beside her also straightened his body. He looked at Yang Ming proudly. Only then did Yang Ming understand that little bitch near was here to act cool in front of Lin Jiyun. Lin Jiyun obviously didn't have a good impression of Zhang Xiaoyuan. She shook her head. I don't like these things. Ha, Jiyun, let me tell you. Women can be like you. You are really a disgrace to us women. Zhang Xiaoyuan said, when we women and men are together, we are paying with our youth. You have to find a man who can spend money on you. Damn. Am I not generous? Yang Ming frowned. Why was this Zhang Xiaoyuan's words so unpleasant? I don't think you're looking for a partner. You're prostituting yourself. By the way, Bayu, didn't you say you were going to buy me a mink fur coat? Let's go now. Zhang Xiaoyuan said to Fatty. Yes, let's go. Let's go now. But my Mercedes-Benz is parked in the parking lot. Don't let people scratch it. Fatty seemed to show off unintentionally. Although Lin Jiyun didn't care about these, girls also wanted to save face. Even Gu Xinyao was scheming in the dark. This Zhang Xiaoyuan was blatantly insulting others. How could Lin Jiyun not notice it? Jiyun, let's go. Didn't you say you were going to buy a mink fur coat? Don't waste time with them. Yang Ming said very humorously, we are rich people. We don't want to lower ourselves to the same level as these poor people. Buy a mink fur coat. How could Zhang Xiaoyuan believe it? Mink fur coat was much more expensive than mink fur. Looking at Yang Ming and Lin Jiyun's clothes, it was obvious that they were students. How could they afford to buy a mink fur coat? Therefore, Zhang Xiaoyuan naturally regarded Yang Ming's words as refuting because he wanted to save face. The fatty was obviously upset by Yang Ming's words, we are rich people. We don't want to lower ourselves to the same level as these poor people. Why? Am I a poor person? I want to see who is the poor person in the end. So she sneered, that's just right. I know there is a Diamond Madam fur shop in front that has a lot of new designs. Let's go together. Okay. Yang Ming nodded and said indifferently. Zhang Xiaoyuan looked at Lin Jiyun with a deep meaning. Her eyes were full of disdain. To be honest, Lin Jiyun was much more beautiful than her, but what was the use? Didn't she still find a rich partner? Yang Ming, are we really going? On the road, Lin Jiyun whispered to Yang Ming. Why don't we go? Didn't we agree to buy clothes for you? Yang Ming looked at the fat man who was walking in front of him with his head held high. But you can't buy something so expensive. Lin Jiyun bit her lip and said, with our relationship, you bought me something so expensive. I can't accept it. Although Lin Jiyun's words were intermittent, Yang Ming could still understand. He comforted her with a smile, that's right. What's the relationship between the two of us? It's not a big deal to buy you 2 pieces of clothing. Lin Jiyun was speechless. Did this guy really not understand, or was he deliberately pretending to be stupid? Lin Jiyun now had some doubts. Why is Yang Ming so good to me? It was reasonable to say that he was just her fake boyfriend. Usually, it was enough to deal with her parents. But now, Yang Ming was completely no different from his real girlfriend. Not only did he care about me, but he also often bought me some gifts. This is probably only a man and a woman in love, right? Lin Jiyun also expressed this question to Yang Ming several times, but Yang Ming either pretended to be stupid or brushed it aside. He didn't answer her directly. Lin Jiyun's heart was now in a mess. Yes, she also liked to be with Yang Ming. If possible, Lin Jiyun didn't mind keeping this relationship. But a fake is still a fake. Paper can't wrap fire. There will be a day when the truth will come out. At that time, my parents will know that Yang Ming is just a fake. Then, wouldn't the relationship between the two end? However, if I don't say it, and Yang Ming doesn't say it, who will know? Yes, it's Yang Ming's girlfriend. If this continues, Yang Ming's girlfriend won't find any clues. If she comes to find me, what should I do? It was precisely because of this that Lin Jiyun always reminded herself not to be too close to Yang Ming. But because her parents had already recognized Yang Ming's identity, she couldn't be too alienated from him, so it caused the current situation where she couldn't back down. Forget it. Lin Jiyun sighed helplessly. Let's take one step at a time. The 4 people came to a large fur shop in front, Diamond Lady Fur. Fur was very popular in the north. The terrain here was cold. Mink, fox, and rabbit fur were warm, so it was very popular among some rich people. Zhang Xiaoyuan and the fat man were determined to embarrass Yang Ming and Lin Jiyun, so they weren't in a hurry to buy. They just strolled with Lin Jiyun and the others. Moreover, they deliberately led them to the most expensive area. Wow, this is good. Lin Jiyun, it suits your figure very well. Why don't you try it? Zhang Xiaoyuan's evil intentions suddenly emerged. She pointed at a very expensive mink coat and said. How could Yang Ming not understand what she meant? But that coat did look pretty good. In fact, Zhang Xiaoyuan also considered this point. If she simply pointed out a coat for Lin Jiyun and the others to buy, it might not fit. Then, they would have a reason not to buy it. Therefore, Zhang Xiaoyuan fully considered her figure and other factors before she chose such a suitable coat. And, not bad. Let's take this one. Yang Ming nodded and greeted the sales staff, please take this coat down. Let's try it on. Oh, okay, wait a moment. Although the sales staff saw that Yang Ming's clothes were very ordinary, she didn't have any contempt. There were many strange rich people these days. She had seen a lot of them. It was understandable to pretend to be poor. Don't leak your wealth. The sales staff took the coat down and handed it to Yang Ming. Yang Ming handed it to Lin Jiyun and said, you go to the fitting room. I will wait for you here. Zhang Xiaoyuan and the fat man were waiting to see Yang Ming make a fool of himself, but they didn't expect that Yang Ming was an idol. While Lin Jiyun was trying on the coat, he asked the sales staff, right, is there a size of about 1.65 meters over there? Who is wearing it? The sales staff asked a routine question. Oh, it's my mother. Yang Ming thought that this mink coat was good. It could keep out the cold. Since he was here, he should bring one back for his mother. Otherwise, his mother would definitely not be willing to spend money to buy it. Yes, but your mother should be middle-aged. She should wear the one on the side. The sales staff pointed to a coat on the right. Yang Ming compared it. It was indeed the case, so he nodded and said, "Well, I want this. You can give me the invoice directly." Chapter 378. Ah. The waiter was stunned. She didn't expect this person to buy it without even trying it. However, since it was bought as a gift, it didn't matter. "Okay, sir, if you buy 2 coats at a time, you can enjoy a 10% discount. Can you wait for the lady to try the coat? If it's suitable, you can get a discount when you open the invoice together." "Okay." Yang Ming nodded indifferently. However, Zhang Xiaoyuan and the fat man couldn't stand it anymore. "Xiaoyuan, didn't you say that Lin Jiyun is very poor? What the hell is going on?" The fat man asked with some worry. "Who knows? Look at that man. He doesn't dress well." Zhang Xiaoyuan whispered, "Don't you want to buy me a mink coat? Hurry up and buy it. Don't be outdone by him. This thing is so expensive. There is a shop with a 20% discount. Let's go there." The fat man whispered, "Aren't we here to embarrass your classmate? Humph, do you just lack that money?" Zhang Xiaoyuan was a little unhappy. "You even drive a Mercedes-Benz. You're not even as good as 2 poor people." "Little lady, that Mercedes-Benz isn't mine. It's my boss's. I'm just a driver. I only earn 5 or 6,000 yuan a month, and it's all spent on you." The fat man smiled bitterly. Although the voices of the 2 people were small, Yang Ming stared at their lips with the corner of his eyes, so he knew what they were saying. "Zhang Xiaoyuan, right? I think the coat that Jian tried on is more suitable for you. You should try it too." Yang Ming smiled insidiously and said to the waiter, "Please find a coat of the same style for this lady to try." "Oh, okay, sir." Yang Ming was a big buyer, so the waiter naturally nodded very enthusiastically. Besides, she saw that Zhang Xiaoyuan and the fat man's clothes were very exquisite, so she didn't doubt their purchasing ability. This. The fat man was a bit embarrassed. However, the waiter had already handed Zhang Xiaoyuan another one of the same style. Although this coat was chosen by Zhang Xiaoyuan for Lin Jiyun, she also chose it according to her own vision. First of all, she herself felt that this coat was good. Moreover, her figure was not much different from Lin Jiyun's. This dress was definitely suitable for her to wear, so Zhang Xiaoyuan didn't know what to do. If she tried it on, it was really beautiful. If she didn't buy it, she would be ridiculed by Lin Jiyun. "Hee, this dress seems to suit you quite well." Yang Ming looked at Zhang Xiaoyuan and smiled. "Don't you want to try it on? Then let's give it a try." Zhang Xiaoyuan wanted to say something else, but the fat man couldn't stand Yang Ming's gaze, so he braced himself and said. In any case, he could just pick out a few flaws and not buy it later. Fatty didn't have Yang Ming's vision. He didn't know that this dress was very suitable for Zhang Xiaoyuan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that. In his opinion, wasn't it easy to find faults? When the time comes, he could just say that it was too big or too small. Zhang Xiaoyuan misunderstood. She thought that the fat man agreed to buy it for her, so she happily took the mink coat and ran to the fitting room. Just as Lin Jiyun came out, Yang Ming couldn't help but brighten up. Even Zhang Xiaoyuan was slightly shocked. Lin Jiyun's coat was so fitting. Lin Jiyun walked over carefully. Her face was a little red as she looked at Yang Ming. Does it look good? It's perfect. Yang Ming couldn't help but praise. Then, he nodded and said, Ji-yun, didn't you look in the mirror? No. Lin Ji-yun said with some shyness. Hee, it's very beautiful. If you don't believe me, you can ask them. Yang Ming helped Lin Ji-yun fix the collar and said. Yeah, this dress really fits. Not to mention that Lin Ji-yun was really beautiful when she wore it. Even if it didn't look good, they had to say yes to this deal. Then this one. We'll take it. For these 2 clothes, you can give me the invoice. Yang Ming nodded and said. Okay, sir. Aren't you waiting for the lady just now? If she likes it, you can also enjoy a 10% discount when you give the invoice together, said the waiter. It's okay. Both of them have a big business. How can they be poor like me? They don't care about the money. Yang Ming smiled and said, if you give him a discount, he will say that you look down on him. Isn't that right, brother? Yang Ming deliberately nodded to the fat man. This. The fat man thought, fucking 10% discount and full price difference is a few thousand. Isn't this a joke? But, he had to pretend to be fat. Yeah, this money doesn't matter. The waiter suddenly had a face full of worship. This is called a rich man. I must praise him in a while. People who don't have money bought 2 pieces. I have to trick them to buy 3 pieces, right? Yang Ming was laughing in his stomach, but his mouth also agreed. Yeah, driving a Mercedes-Benz is really different. Driving a Mercedes-Benz. When the waiter heard this, he must be really rich. So, she was happy and prepared to let the fat man pay for it. It didn't take long for Zhang Xiaoyuan to come out. Although this dress wasn't as beautiful as Lin Ji-yun, it was very fitting on her. If there was no comparison with Lin Ji-yun, then Zhang Xiaoyuan would also give people a feeling of amazement. However, even if it didn't feel as good as Lin Ji-yun, it was very difficult to find fault with it. The excuses that the fat man had prepared couldn't be used at all. As he was thinking about how to reject it, the waiter spoke. Miss, this dress is simply tailor-made for you. It fits you so well. Look, it's so natural. The waiter began to talk endlessly. Let your husband take a look. Isn't it very good? What do you think, sir? Oh, yes, no, that. The fat man's mouth trembled. He almost agreed with the waiter's words, but he suddenly remembered that the money in his pocket was limited. He had to change his mind. I think it's average. Sir, I'm not boasting. I have been selling mink fur for so long. It fits so well. Except for the lady just now, it's your girlfriend. You see, the whole person has a noble temperament. The waiter said, Miss, what do you think? Zhang Xiaoyuan just thought that the fat man had agreed to buy it for her, so naturally, she didn't care. Besides, she also liked this coat very much, so she said, not bad. When you said that, I also feel this way. Baiyu, why don't we buy this? Although she couldn't show off in front of Lin Ji-yun, she didn't lose face, so Zhang Xiaoyuan was still relatively happy. After all, she also bought a mink fur coat. Before this, the fat man only said to buy a mink fur coat. Moreover, this mink fur coat wasn't cheap. It cost more than 40,000 yuan. How could Zhang Xiaoyuan not be happy? However, the fat man couldn't stand it. He quickly winked at Zhang Xiaoyuan and said, Xiaoyuan, I don't think this is very good. Why don't we go somewhere else? I think it's quite good. What's wrong, I'll buy you. Zhang Xiaoyuan was suddenly a little unhappy. Isn't this obviously losing face? Ugh. I just think that if we buy clothes, we have to walk around more, right? The fat man explained awkwardly, and then he kept winking at Zhang Xiaoyuan. Buddy, what's wrong with your eyes? Yang Ming held back his laughter and asked the fat man seriously. Aw. Nothing, ugh, it's a little confusing. The fat man stuttered. Oh, so that's the case. Since your girlfriend likes it, then you buy it. Anyway, it's not much money. If you see something good later, then buy it. Besides, maybe if you don't buy it now, someone else will buy it in a while. Yang Ming said. Yes, sir, this is the last one left. There won't be any more after it's sold out. The waiter also fanned the flames. But the fat man was now in a dilemma. The key problem was that his card didn't have so much money now. Baiyu, I want this one. Let's pay. Zhang Xiaoyuan saw the fat man hesitate, and her face immediately sank. What's wrong with this Baiyu? Isn't this embarrassing? The fat man wanted to say that he wouldn't buy it, but if he said this, not only would he lose his face, but he might also lose his girlfriend. Sir, then I'll issue the invoice. The waiter asked. It's 46,800 yuan. Isn't it a discount? Zhang Xiaoyuan asked. Oh, it's a discount if you buy 2 pieces. Just now, this gentleman said that the discount was looking down on him. The waiter explained. Chapter 379. Wow! So stylish. Zhang Xiaoyuan looked at her boyfriend with some admiration. She finally got back some face. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but look at Yang Ming and Lin Jiyun provocatively. What's the discount? It doesn't matter. Yang Ming smiled and didn't say anything. Most likely, this silly girl didn't know the situation of the fat man, right? Sure enough, as Yang Ming expected, the fat man whispered to Zhang Xiaoyuan, I'm going to make a call. Then, he left in a hurry. Although the fat man found a place far away from them to make a call, the content of the phone call was clearly passed to Yang Ming's ears. Boss, I'm Biaozi. I want to discuss something with you. Can you see if you can give me my next few months' salary in advance? Please, boss. I've been with you for so many years. Why, isn't it because my girlfriend wants to buy a coat? Boss, but I like her. Okay, thank you, boss. 40,000 yuan is enough. The fat man breathed a sigh of relief and finally settled the matter of money. Yang Ming laughed twice and took the bill to pay first. Aren't you pretending? I'll let you pretend. Pretend as much as you want. I'll cooperate with you. Let's see how you repay the debt after pretending. Wait to be a slave. As soon as he finished paying, he saw the fat man come over with a bitter face. Yang Ming said insidiously, rich people are really different. You don't even bargain when buying things. That's right, that's right. The fat man was about to cry. Damn, if you didn't talk too much, would I be able to spend a few thousand yuan? My 1 month's salary was gone because of your words. But I can't say this. Who asked my girlfriend to be so prideful? It's really a case of wanting to be prideful to suffer. As for what expression Zhang Xiaoyuan would have when she knew the truth, Yang Ming didn't have the mood to watch it. He took the clothes directly and left the Diamond Madame Fur Plaza with Lin Jiyun. Should I take it off first? Lin Jiyun wore such expensive clothes for the first time in her life. She was afraid of breaking it. No need, I bought it to wear it. If I don't wear it, what's the point of buying it? Yang Ming smiled and said, but your classmate, Zhang Xiaoyuan, might not be so happy now, right? Why? Lin Jiyun asked curiously. The reason is very simple. Yang Ming told Lin Jiyun what had just happened. Even Lin Jiyun, who who had always been a good person, laughed. Yang Ming, since you know, why are you still playing with him? Lin Jiyun said with some blame. I'm not messing with him. Isn't he just trying to show off in front of us? I was just cooperating with him to show off. Yang Ming shrugged and said indifferently, who asked me to be a good person? Hee hee. Lin Jiyun sighed after listening, then smiled and said, forget it. Let's not talk about her, Jiyun, I think you are a very good person. Gu Xinyao is so hateful, yet you still speak up for her. This Zhang Xiaoyuan, why do you seem to hate her? Yang Ming had long wanted to ask this question. Hate her? Maybe. Lin Jiyun took a breath and then said slowly, Zhang Xiaoyuan and I were good friends in high school. At least I think so. We were desk mates. At that time, she found a rich boyfriend. It should be the one I saw today. Although she always showed me her expensive things, I felt that she didn't have a bad heart at the time. But later, something happened in my family. It was the time when my father was hit by a car. I wanted to borrow some money from her, but I didn't expect her to reject me. No matter how I begged, she was indifferent. She also said that it was better to buy a necklace herself than to borrow money from me. Yang Ming thought about Zhang Xiaoyuan's attitude and felt that it wasn't strange for her to do this kind of thing. Later, she gave me an idea, and then I met you. Lin Jiyun said with some pain. After all, that incident was a stain in her life. In any case, she had betrayed herself like those prostitutes. Although the transaction wasn't successful, this was always a knot in Lin Jiyun's heart. Is it the matter of you selling your virginity? Yang Ming frowned and asked. Lin Jiyun responded softly and then nodded. Motherfucker, I think she's almost like a prostitute now. Yang Ming scolded in a bad mood. Fortunately, Lin Jiyun met me at that time. Otherwise, who knows what would happen. However, then again, it seemed that Yang Ming should thank Zhang Xiaoyuan. If there was no Zhang Xiaoyuan, could Yang Ming meet Lin Jiyun? If there wasn't that encounter, without Yang Ming's help, would Lin Jiyun immediately give up the idea of pursuing him after knowing that the person who violated her was Yang Ming? Don't scold people. Lin Jiyun scolded. Hee hee, okay, I won't scold anymore. Yang Ming smiled. Originally, Lin Jiyun's mood wasn't very good when she met Zhang Xiaoyuan, but after knowing that Yang Ming set her up, she let go of the unhappiness in her heart. Looking at the time, it was about noon. The two people found a fast food restaurant to eat something, and then drove back to school together. Gu Xinyao didn't go to class today. Last night, she had a crazy night with Bai Hai. Now, she just got up and was wearing clothes when she saw Lin Jiyun come in. Hey! Sister Lin, you're here. Is your leg okay? Gu Xinyao asked very enthusiastically. Okay, I'm fine. Lin Jiyun nodded. It's good that you're fine. Sister Lin, is the coat you're wearing mink? It's so beautiful. Did Brother Yang buy it for you? Gu Xinyao praised. Lin Jiyun nodded shyly. Right, Jing Xiaolu, don't you want to know Brother Yang? This is Brother Yang's girlfriend, Lin Jiyun. You can call her Sister Lin. Gu Xinyao said to a girl who had makeup like a monster. Jing Xiaolu looked at Lin Jiyun for a long time, and then said, Sister Xinyao, are you mistaken? How is she Brother Yang's girlfriend? Jing Xiaolu saw Chen Mengyan last time. She had never seen Lin Jiyun, so naturally, she would ask this question. Gu Xinyao listened to Jing Xiaolu's words and remembered that Brother Yang's girlfriend last time wasn't Lin Jiyun. It's over. This is bad. Gu Xinyao was afraid that Jing Xiaolu would say something else, so she quickly gave her a look. After all, Lin Jiyun was standing here. Gu Xinyao couldn't guarantee that she didn't know that Yang Ming had other girlfriends. Sister Xinyao, what's wrong with you? Jing Xiaolu didn't know the details, so she asked stupidly, I remember the woman last time very clearly. It's not her. Jing Xiaolu, don't talk nonsense. How many times have I told you? You should get a contact lens for your myopia. You can even mistake people. Gu Xinyao scolded, Sister Lin is Brother Yang's girlfriend. You must have seen wrongly last time. Jing Xiaolu was even more puzzled. That's not right. What is this Gu Xinyao doing? She looked at Gu Xinyao strangely. My eyes aren't myopic. Sister Xinyao, have you not woken up yet? AI. Gu Xinyao sighed helplessly, and then said to Lin Jiyun awkwardly, Sister Lin, Jing Xiaolu is usually so crazy. She speaks incoherently. Don't mind her. It's okay. I know who she is talking about. Lin Jiyun shook her head bitterly. Yang Ming was just her fake boyfriend. How could she be compared with his real girlfriend? Ah. Gu Xinyao was stunned. She looked at Lin Jiyun strangely. Did she know? Xinyao, and Jing Xiaolu, right? Lin Jiyun hesitated and said, Can I trouble you with something? What is it, Sister Lin? As long as you say it, I can do it even if I can't. Gu Xinyao quickly promised. I'm Yang Ming's girlfriend. Can you keep it a secret for me? Can you not tell others? Lin Jiyun bit her lip and said bitterly. She didn't know why, but Lin Jiyun had a sad feeling. Lin Jiyun suddenly had a very sad feeling. Am I a third party? Because in Jing Xiaolu's strange eyes, Lin Jiyun read this message. Yes, Jing Xiaolu did think so. Could it be that this Lin Jiyun is the legendary mistress? However, Gu Xinyao immediately adjusted her mood and said, No problem, Sister Lin. I won't talk nonsense. Then she glared at Jing Xiaolu and said, You heard it too. Oh. I know. Jing Xiaolu was still afraid of Gu Xinyao. This matter was over, but Lin Jiyun fell into contemplation. Should I take some measures? Chapter 380. In the afternoon, Yang Ming originally wanted to go shopping with Qin Mengyan, but Qin Mengyan didn't want to skip class, so he had to give up. However, this also gave Yang Ming time to meet other lovers. Yang Ming came to Xiao Qing's office and glanced inside with his special ability. He saw that there was no one else except Xiao Qing, so he pushed the door and walked in. Sister Xiao Qing. Yang Ming closed the door and walked straight to Xiao Qing. Yang Ming. Why are you here? Xiao Qing looked up with some joy and looked at Yang Ming very gently. Why? Didn't you go shopping with your girlfriend? Am I not preparing? Yang Ming stretched out his hand in front of Xiao Qing. I just don't know if my girlfriend will do me the honor. Me? Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming with some disbelief. She didn't expect Yang Ming to actually come to her and ask her to go shopping. As a matter of fact, she was just his secret lover. Although Xiao Qing said that she didn't care about these titles, as a woman, especially at Christmas, she still hoped to be with her beloved. However, Xiao Qing also knew that Yang Ming was a person who had a girlfriend. She couldn't create trouble for him, so she endured her longing and didn't call Yang Ming. She didn't expect Yang Ming to take the initiative to ask her out. There seems to be no one else here, right? Yang Ming looked at Xiao Qing with a smile. Okay. I accept your invitation. Xiao Qing happily handed her hand to Yang Ming. Yang Ming held Xiao Qing's soft little hand and said, Where do you want to go? I want to go to the beach. Is that okay? Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming eagerly. Okay, but why do you want to go to the beach in winter? Yang Ming was a bit puzzled. I used to have a wish to stroll on the beach with my lover. Xiao Qing said with yearning, since you walked right into the trap, then of course, I won't be polite. You haven't been there with Song Hang before? Yang Ming asked strangely. Xiao Qing and Song Hang used to be a couple. Even if there was no intimate relationship, they should often go out to play, right? But Xiao Qing shook her head, no. Don't mention him. I'm in a good mood now, so I don't want to talk about him. Although Xiao Qing just mentioned it casually, Yang Ming felt that something was unusual. Yes, when Song Hang was mentioned before, Xiao Qing just regarded him as a stranger. Although she was disgusted, she didn't avoid it, and it was impossible for her to be angry. But today, Xiao Qing's tone had an obvious intention to avoid it. Sister Xiao Qing, what's wrong? Did Song Hang trouble you again? Yang Ming asked suddenly. Ah, no. Xiao Qing shook her head quickly. She didn't want to destroy the gentle atmosphere in front of her. Sister Xiao Qing, you lied to me. Yang Ming's eyes went straight to Xiao Qing's eyes. I. Xiao Qing sighed. It seemed that she couldn't hide it. Is it because of the purchase of experimental equipment? Did he make things difficult for you? Yang Ming said in a low voice. He refused to cooperate with our school. In other words, he didn't intend to sell experimental equipment. Xiao Qing said helplessly. Because I talked back to him last time. Yang Ming asked with some difficulty. It has nothing to do with you. Song Hang has premeditated this for a long time. From the moment he saw me, he probably tried to sabotage this deal. Even if you didn't have anything to do with it, he would pick on it from other places. Xiao Qing said with some resentment, I didn't expect him to be such a person. Because of personal matters, he would harm the company's interests. In other words, he isn't going to cooperate. Or does he want to get something? Yang Ming wasn't stupid. Song Hang must have a purpose for doing this. Moreover, Yang Ming had already guessed something. He asked me to go to his residence tonight to talk about it in detail. Xiao Qing said with some anger. Motherfucker, is this guy tired of living? He still dares to do something to you. Yang Ming was immediately angry when he heard it. Don't worry, Yang Ming. I definitely won't go. At most, I will take the blame and resign. Xiao Qing said with some helplessness, after all, he is targeting me. If I'm no longer in school, he shouldn't go against the money. It seems that it is necessary for me to talk to this guy. Yang Ming sneered and then said to Xiao Qing, Sister Xiao Qing, I will go out now. I will accompany you to the beach in the evening, but maybe you will be in a better mood at that time. Yang Ming, do you mean that you are going to find Song Hang? Xiao Qing asked nervously. If I don't find him, why should I keep him? Yang Ming said with a shrug. Song Hang is a very sinister person, and Huatong Trading Company is a multinational company. Xiao Qing hesitated and said, Yang Ming, I don't want anything to happen to you, really, Sister Xiao Qing, you can rest assured. Have you forgotten about Huang Yukai? Is Wang Century Xiongfeng Group big? In my eyes, it is nothing at all, Yang Ming said with a smile. I only know that whoever bullies you, I will let him suffer a fate worse than death. The incident last time. You really did it. Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming in a daze. Although she suspected it last time, there was no substantial evidence. Now, Yang Ming said it personally, so Xiao Qing had no doubts. It seems that I still don't know enough about Yang Ming. Yang Ming must have a side that I don't know. Thinking of Yang Ming's calmness in the bar in Hong Kong, and his calmness when he was being followed by bad guys, Xiaoqing determined that Yang Ming was not an ordinary person. "Sister Xiaoqing, you won't report me, right?" Yang Ming was just joking. He was 100% assured about Xiaoqing. Even if the whole world betrayed him, Xiaoqing would never do it. Yang Ming had this confidence. "I don't know anything." Xiaoqing smiled. "Then you should be careful." Xiaoqing knew that she couldn't stop Yang Ming, so she could only tell him. Today, Song Hang was very upset. It was already noon, and Xiaoqing didn't reply to him. "Motherfucker, why hasn't this bitch called me back?" If you want to buy experimental equipment, isn't it up to me? If you don't come and beg me, don't expect me to sell it to you. I'm not afraid that you won't comply at that time." Song Hang looked at the phone on the table and scolded fiercely. "President Song, how can I not compare to that Xiaoqing?" A coquettish woman, Song Hang's secretary, said while lying on Song Hang's body. "Hee, you don't understand. That's my first love, so I must get it," Song Hang said as he lasciviously pulled open his belt, and then violently pressed the female secretary's head down. "Oh, President Song, I like to eat bananas the most. How can that Xiaoqing compare to me?" The coquettish female secretary said as she began to work hard. "Don't worry, don't be jealous. I won't treat you badly. If there is a chance, I will recommend to the head office to promote you to the assistant to the general manager." Song Hang pinched the female secretary's chest and said, "Harder." With a "paw" sound, the office door was pushed open. "Who? Fuck, don't you know how to knock on the door before entering?" Song Hang was shocked. Fortunately, the female secretary was relatively short and was lying behind the desk. "President Song." Yang Ming opened his mouth and was rudely interrupted by Song Hang. "Since you know that I'm President Song, get out of here." Song Hang scolded. He was having fun, but he was interrupted. This feeling was really uncomfortable. "President Song, of course, I know that you are President Song, and I'm here to send you off," Yang Ming said with a sneer. "You motherfucker." Song Hang was about to curse, but he suddenly recognized the person in front of him. "Are you Xiaoqing's lover?" "Lover? Hee, whatever you say. But you won't have the right to speak soon." Yang Ming shook his head indifferently and wasn't angry at all. What do you want?" "If you are here to make trouble, don't blame me for being rude," Song Hang said as he pressed the internal phone on the table and shouted, Security Department, send a few people up." "Just shout, idiot," Yang Ming scolded. Song Hang was stunned. It took a long time to react. It turned out that there was no sound on the phone. "You broke my phone." "Oh, I saw the telephone exchange in the corridor, so I just smashed it," Yang Ming said faintly. "You motherfucker, you wait." As Song Hang said this, he was going to pick up the phone on the table. An iron skewer flew straight over and nailed Song Hang's right hand, who was about to get the phone, to the desk. Chapter 381. Song Hang howled and watched the blood flow down from his right hand. "Ah!" The female secretary who was serving Song Hang was also frightened by the scene in front of her. She fainted directly. What are you doing?" Song Hang saw Yang Ming coming to him with a smirk. He was so scared that he forgot the pain in his hand. "Who is this person in front of me? Why is he so bloody?" "Nothing much. This iron stick is sold by the mutton skewers downstairs. There is still a deposit of 30 cents. I will pull it out and return it to him later," Yang Ming said with a smile. Don't pull it out." Song Hang's words hadn't finished yet. Yang Ming had already walked over and pulled out the stick. Song Hang screamed again. Yes, it was impossible for him not to scream because Yang Ming's method of pulling out the stick was simply torture. Yang Ming didn't pull out the stick. Instead, he pulled Song Hang's hand out of the stick. There was a spiral part behind the stick. It directly made a bloody hole in Song Hang's hand. Song Hang rolled his eyes and fainted directly. With this kind of appearance, he still dares to have ideas about Xiaoqing. Is the opponent too weak, or am I too strong? Yang Ming shook his head and directly grabbed Song Hang's collar. He took him to the window, opened the office window, pushed half of Song Hang's body out, and then grabbed his legs. Song Hang had already fainted. Suddenly, he felt a gust of wind blowing on his forehead. He was so cold that he shivered and woke up all of a sudden. It didn't matter if he woke up, but Song Hang almost peed his pants. Oh my God, I actually hung on the edge of the window with my head down. This is the 16th floor. If I fell, wouldn't I die immediately? Song Hang wanted to climb up, but he had no strength at all. He had no choice but to wave his hands randomly. Don't move. Although I don't want to kill people, if my arm goes numb, then don't blame me. Yang Ming warned him. In fact, with Yang Ming's strength, it was a piece of cake to catch him. As soon as Song Hang looked up, he saw Yang Ming above, looking at him gloomily. Song Hang shuddered. Oh my God, is this person a desperado? Just now, Yang Ming's means had already frightened Song Hang. Now, compared to him, the pain from before had long disappeared. That, brother, don't play with me. Pull me up. I beg you. What do you want? I promise you. Song Hang was really scared this time. But it was no wonder. Who wouldn't be afraid of a big head hanging from the 16th floor? Weren't you very awesome just now, telling me that your manager Song? Yang Ming sneered and shook his hands. Song Hang swayed up and down as if he was sitting on a couch. Oh my God. Song Hang was so scared that he trembled and peed directly in his pants. Unfortunately, he had a big head, so all the urine flowed down his body and onto his face. But at this moment, Song Hang couldn't care about this at all. Whether he could survive or not was still a problem. Sorry, my hand is a little numb. Yang Ming said with a smile. Brother, you're my brother. Brother, don't play with me. Pull me up. You can do whatever you want. I surrender. Song Hang begged. Fuck off, who is your brother? Yang Ming disdained such a person to be his younger brother. Dad, no. Grandpa, you pull me up. I can't do it. Song Hang quickly changed his words. Really? If I pull you up, you can call the police. Is that what you think? Yang Ming asked faintly. Call the police. Song Hang never thought about it. At this time, he didn't have the mood to think so much, so he quickly said, Grandpa, you can rest assured. I don't dare to call the police. Besides, who will believe me if I call the police? Humph. Yang Ming sneered and pulled Song Hang up. Then he walked to the side and said, Your urine is too disgusting. Stay away from me. Yes, Grandpa, you can do whatever you want. Song Hang quickly crawled to the corner and gasped for breath. The taste of walking around the gates of hell was really uncomfortable. Now Song Hang suspected that the person in front of him was in the underworld. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to have such ruthless means. I heard that you asked Xiaoqing to go to your house at night. Yang Ming looked at Song Hang and his eyes were full of contempt. That kind of expression was like looking at an insignificant ant. That's right, Yang Ming now had 100 ways to kill him. However, killing in the company was not a wise choice. Misunderstanding. Grandpa, I just want to talk about business. I don't mean anything else. Song Hang thought, sure enough, it's because of Xiao Qing. This smelly bitch, she has caused me a lot of trouble. If you're that strong, why are you still calling me and begging me for help? Isn't this harming me? Previously, it was also because Xiao Qing called him several times to apologize to him that Song Hang thought that Xiao Qing was a pushover. However, it was impossible for him to say this to Yang Ming. He didn't want to go to the gates of hell for free again. Moreover, it was easy to go to the gates of hell, but whether or not he could come back was another matter. Misunderstanding. Do you need to go at night to talk about business? Yang Ming sneered. That. Grandpa, I know I'm wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Song Hang also knew that it was useless to deny, so he simply admitted his mistake. Grandpa, you tell me what to do. In the future, you are my grandpa, and Xiao Qing is also my grandmother. Oh. Then, shouldn't you give a discount for your own business? Let's do this. Give your grandmother a 20% discount for that batch of experimental equipment. Yang Ming instructed directly. 20% discount. Song Hang was a little dumbfounded. Although he was the regional general manager, the price was set by the head office. Although he could get a discount, it wasn't so much. However, seeing Yang Ming's expression, Song Hang didn't dare to say no. He could only add money from his own pocket, so he clenched his teeth and nodded, no problem. Good attitude. Yang Ming nodded. But words are no guarantee. Shouldn't you sign the contract first? But, isn't it a bit too hasty to sign the contract now? Song Hang was telling the truth. How could a contract be signed so hastily? Yang Ming snorted and raised the iron stick in his hand. Grandpa, I was wrong. Sign now, immediately. Song Hang was so scared that he quickly knelt on the ground. Grandpa, I beg you. Just don't stab me. No, your hesitation just now has decided that you must be punished. Yang Ming said with a smile, say it. Is it your left hand or right hand this time? Song Hang rolled his eyes after hearing it and almost fainted again. It wasn't that he didn't want to faint, but he didn't dare to faint. He was afraid that Yang Ming would throw him out of the window again. Grandpa, then stab my right hand. Song Hang said with trepidation. Forget it. If you stab your right hand again, it will be wasted. I will leave it for you to sign the contract. Remember this. Don't question in front of me next time. Yang Ming decided to spare Song Hang this time. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, Grandpa. Song Hang quickly said gratefully, but, Grandpa, this contract has to be signed with the school's official seal. It also has to be signed by the school leader. Can't it be done immediately? Really? Yang Ming hesitated. It seemed that what Song Hang said was true. So, he called Xiao Qing. After asking clearly, he handed the phone to Song Hang. You say it yourself. Let's make an appointment to sign the contract. That's Xiao. Ah no, Grandma, I am Song Hang. When do you have time? I will come over and sign the contract. I promise Grandpa that I will sell to the school at a 20% discount. Song Hang said quickly. What Grandma and Grandpa? Xiao Qing was somewhat inexplicable. You will be my grandma in the future. My real grandma. If you have something to say, just say it. Song Hang said quickly. Although Xiao Qing didn't know what was going on, she also knew that this was Yang Ming's masterpiece. So, she said, then let's do it in these 2 days. I will ask for the school leader's opinion and call you again. Okay, Grandma. Everything is up to you. Song Hang said flatteringly. After hanging up the phone, Young Ming looked at Song Hang and said faintly, "How can I believe your words? Grandpa, I swear. I will definitely do what I say. You will be my grandpa for a lifetime." Song Hang said quickly. "I hope what you said is true." Young Ming said faintly, "You can choose to call the police, but the day I come out of prison will be the anniversary of your death." After that, Young Ming kicked Song Hang's desk. The solid wood desk was kicked into pieces by Young Ming. Young Ming's kick was the foot that broke a big tree. Moreover, during this time, he didn't slack off on his practice. Song Hang was so shocked that he opened his mouth wide. After a long time, he recovered from the shock. When he looked up, Young Ming was no longer there. Chapter 382. Who? Song Hang took a deep breath and lay on the floor for a long time. Motherfucker, what kind of person is this? He is even more ruthless than the underworld in Hong Kong. After a while, Song Hang suddenly felt that his right hand was still burning. He suddenly remembered that his palm had been pierced. He quickly stood up and kicked the female secretary awake. "Get up quickly." The female secretary woke up in a daze and saw that Song Hang's hand was still bleeding. She quickly asked, "Is that person gone? Should I call the police now?" "Motherfucker, why call the police? Do you want to kill me?" Song Hang scolded angrily. "Hurry up and help me to the hospital. If I'm late, my hand will be crippled. I still have to go to Macau to gamble." Okay, President Song." The female secretary didn't dare to say more. She quickly stood up and helped Song Hang out of the office. While walking, she called the driver downstairs and asked him to wait at the company's entrance. Song Hang didn't want to call the police at all. Young Ming was very reasonable. If he called the police, he would be charged with intentional injury at most. It wasn't a particularly big crime. Even if he was sentenced to a few years, Song Hang wouldn't be able to rest until he was released. It would be strange if he didn't kill him. Unless Song Hang ran away and lost his current identity and status. But could Song Hang lose it? It was not easy for him to climb to this position. His future was bright. Song Hang was not stupid enough to give up everything for a woman. Although Song Hang was also very upset and annoyed, he could only hold his annoyance. He also saw that Yang Ming belonged to the group that risked his life, and it wasn't just risking his life. That guy's ability was also very strong. A mutton skewer could actually pierce his hand from so far away, and it passed through his hand and into the table. How much strength did it take? Therefore, Song Hang had to give up the idea of retaliating against Yang Ming and Xiao Qing. He didn't have the strength. Retaliating was equivalent to finding trouble for himself. When she was bandaged in the hospital, Song Hang asked his secretary to call the head office and reported Xiao Qing's order. He also specifically emphasized the importance of this customer and asked the head office to ship as soon as possible. In the face of Song Hang's instructions, the head office didn't think much about it. They thought that this was Song Hang's first business after taking office. He attached great importance to it, so they agreed to give him priority in shipping. After doing all this, Song Hang was relieved. Motherfucker, Song Hang felt like he had personally experienced a Hong Kong underworld movie today. He could only vent his resentment on the female secretary. Now, Song Jiang's underworld was basically in the hands of Yang Ming, so Yang Ming didn't need to be as careful and low-key as before. Sometimes, the more ruthless you were, the more afraid the opponent would be. For example, today's Song Hang. Yang Ming felt funny when he thought of him. After leaving Song Hang's place, Yang Ming returned to Xiao Qing's office. Xiaoqing was very excited to see Yang Ming again, but she still endured and didn't say anything. Intuition told Xiaoqing that Yang Ming must still have something to hide from her. Otherwise, with Yang Ming's identity as a student, how could Song Heng change his words so casually? Moreover, judging from Song Heng's attitude just now, he was obviously very afraid of Yang Ming. He was so afraid that he actually called her grandma. But Yang Ming didn't tell her, so there must be a reason for Yang Ming. Xiaoqing didn't get angry or think too much about this matter because she always thought about Yang Ming. She wouldn't force Yang Ming to do anything. "You're back." Xiaoqing looked at Yang Ming. Her eyes were full of care and love. "And, Song Heng won't trouble you again?" Yang Ming nodded and said. "What did you do to him?" Xiaoqing asked with some concern. She wasn't worried about Song Heng, but she was afraid that Yang Ming would cause trouble. "Nothing. It was much easier than Huang Yukai. At most, he would go to the hospital for 2 stitches. Yang Ming said indifferently, "Don't worry. This guy won't dare to play any tricks unless he doesn't want to live." "Yang Ming, I know you are doing it for my good, but you must be rational next time. For example, Huang Yukai. Isn't it a bit too?" Xiaoqing was afraid that Yang Ming would be found by the police. I never said that Huang Yucai's matter was done by me. Besides, Wang Shifan didn't pursue it. Who would pursue it?" Yang Ming smiled and said, "Well, Sister Xiaoqing, let's not talk about this. Aren't you going to the beach? Let's go now." "Okay, you wait for me. I will change my clothes." As Xiaoqing said this, she stood up and walked to the wardrobe. She opened the wardrobe and took out a down jacket. Because the beach was cold, the windbreaker on her body was obviously not enough to keep out the cold. After Xiaoqing changed her clothes, the two of them went downstairs side by side. Xiaoqing was Yang Ming's godsister. Since Wang Shuifan's incident, this was almost known in the college, so the two of them didn't need to avoid anything. Moreover, if they deliberately avoided it, it would seem that there was a problem. So, Yang Ming and Xiaoqing went out of the computer building while talking and laughing. On the way, they met a few teachers and greeted Xiaoqing. Of course, those who knew Yang Ming also said a few words to Yang Ming. "I have never really had a Christmas. Yang Ming, do you believe it?" In the car, Xiaoqing looked at the lively street and said with some emotion. He. Yang Ming smiled and didn't answer Xiaoqing's words directly. Instead, he said, "Sister Xiaoqing, in the future, I will spend every Christmas with you. I am satisfied with your words." Yang Ming, you have to accompany your girlfriend. If Lan Ling comes back, you still have to accompany her. How can you have time to accompany me? Xiaoqing said with a bitter smile, "Yang Ming, our relationship is better to be low-key. Don't you think it is very dangerous now? At least Song Heng knows about our relationship. I am afraid that he will go out and talk about it." "Does he dare?" Yang Ming said disdainfully. Probably the last thing Song Heng wanted to mention now was himself and Xiaoqing. In fact, Song Heng was indeed like this. The female secretary asked many times, but Song Heng refused to say what happened at that time. He even warned the female secretary that if she dared to say more, he would fire her. "I hope so. But what I mean is that it is better for us to be low-key." Xiaoqing nodded and said, "I understand, Sister Xiaoqing. You can rest assured." Yang Ming smiled understandingly. "But one day, I will announce to the world that you are also my, Yang Ming's, woman." Yes, Yang Ming now had this confidence. He had special abilities, money, and a unique skill. If he wasn't successful, then there was no justice. Today's seaside, there weren't as many people as last night. Looking around, there were only a few couples strolling. However, there were a lot of small vendors selling things on the seaside. Most of them bought goods yesterday and were not sold out. Now, they were selling at a discount. Yang Ming and Xiao Qing got out of the car. Yang Ming held Xiao Qing's hand. Xiao Qing glared at him and wanted to break away, but she didn't expect her hand to be held by Yang Ming. No one knows us here. What are you afraid of? Yang Ming smiled and said, besides, it's not a big deal to hold hands between siblings. Xiao Qing couldn't help it. She had to let Yang Ming do as he wished. However, this feeling of walking hand in hand by the seaside was really fascinating. Xiao Qing felt very warm and happy. Pearl shell, sold cheaply. Buy now, open now. Free thread for pearls. A vendor on the roadside shouted loudly. Yang Ming and Xiao Qing walked over. It turned out to be a small stall selling pearl shells. There was a pile of pearl shells on the stall bed. A few couples were picking and choosing with interest. A couple picked out a shell and handed it to the stall owner. The stall owner cut it open with a knife and took out a pearl from inside. The pearl wasn't very big, but it was well proportioned. The couple also liked it very much. The owner processed it into a necklace on the spot and handed it to the couple. The couple paid the money satisfactorily and left. This person was very good at doing business. This pearl necklace was only worth a few yuan at most when it was processed into a finished product. He sold it for 50 yuan. However, this boss wasn't a particularly stingy person. According to the people on the side, he had also opened a large pearl that was worth at least a few hundred yuan. Therefore, many couples were visiting for the second time. This kind of thing made Yang Ming involuntarily think of the way of jade gambling. In fact, it was essentially the same, but this pearl shell was more difficult. Yang Ming, I want to buy one to try. Is that okay? Xiao Qing obviously had a strong interest in this. Although Xiao Qing was 30 years old, many women in love were similar to children, so Xiao Qing also liked these novel things like other girls. Chapter 383. The fun of doing it yourself was endless. Just like the pottery bar, painting bar, mud bar, and so on that appeared in the past few years, all of which were done by oneself, attracting a large number of couples. The seller of this pearl shell obviously thought of this, and the business was indeed very popular. Yang Ming squatted down and began to pick with Xiao Qing. In fact, the couples who came here to buy pearl shells didn't know how to pick. They just did what they wanted. It was fine as long as they liked it. How about this? Xiao Qing took 2 shells and held them in front of Yang Ming. Not good. Let's change it. Yang Ming glanced and said with a smile. Although the 2 pearl shells chosen by Xiao Qing also had pearls in them, the size was too small, and one of them wasn't very well proportioned. What's wrong? These 2 shells look very good. Xiao Qing said, baffled. It looks good, but it doesn't mean that the pearls inside are also good-looking. As Yang Ming said, he casually found a black and ugly shell from the pile of pearl shells and handed it to Xiao Qing. This one. This one looks good. Aw. It's so ugly. Xiao Qing frowned. Why don't we each choose one, and then see whose pearl is bigger? Okay, but there needs to be a little bit of luck. Yang Ming didn't mind. Anyway, he was just spending money to buy fun. He didn't expect this thing to make a fortune. As long as Xiao Qing liked it, it didn't matter which one she chose. If he really forced her to choose the one she liked, although the pearls inside were bigger and rounder, Xiao Qing might not have a good time. This thing was about the fun of choosing by yourself. Luck? What do you want? Xiaoqing was a little dumbfounded. This thing could be used for luck. And, tonight. If I win, you will be on top. If you win, then I will be on top. How about that? Yang Ming said with a smirk. You go. It's not a good thing to guess. Xiaoqing blushed and whispered to Yang Ming, what's the difference? You haven't been up there yet. Yang Ming said lecherously. Okay, I don't believe that I will lose. Xiaoqing hesitated and nodded. Although she was very active, she had never tried the position where the woman was on top and the man was on the bottom. After all, Xiaoqing was a woman. Although she was open with Yang Ming, she didn't like to try it easily. When Yang Ming saw that Xiaoqing agreed, he smiled secretly. It seemed that Xiaoqing was bound to lose. There was no doubt about it. Among the two pearl shells just now, Xiaoqing chose one and kept it. Then, he handed this one and the one Yang Ming chose to the stall owner. All right. I'll open it now. The boss took out the knife and skillfully opened the shell of the pearl shell. He first took out the pearl in the pearl shell that Xiaoqing chose. This was a relatively small pearl, and it was still round. Xiaoqing happily took the pearl and looked at it from left to right. Miss, do you need to thread it? The stall owner asked. It's free. Ugh. Okay, then you can help me put it on. Xiaoqing thought about it and nodded. Don't you want to look at mine? Maybe mine is bigger. You should wear mine. Yang Ming said. Well, then let's look at yours first. Xiaoqing nodded and said. The stall owner listened to Yang Ming's words, then threw away his pearl shell and took out the pearl inside. He couldn't help but admire, what a big pearl. Young man, you've earned a lot. The stall owner's words couldn't help but attract a lot of couples. They looked at Yang Ming and Xiaoqing with envy. Yang Ming, I didn't expect you to have such good luck. Xiaoqing said somewhat ambiguously. Hee, I think that the uglier the pearl shell, the bigger the pearl inside should be. Hee. Yang Ming laughed. I want it too. Husband, you can pick one for me too. A woman said to the man next to her. How can I pick one just like that? The man had a bitter face. I have bought 5, but there are no decent pearls. I don't care. I want it. The woman obviously refused to give up. AI. The man sighed and then said to Yang Ming, Buddy, can I discuss something with you? How about you sell this pearl to me? I will give you 100 yuan. When the man just finished speaking, the onlookers nearby looked at him like a fool. Someone said, he has such a good pearl, and you only give him 100. Are you kidding me? How can there be such a good thing? That's right. You said it yourself. You bought 5 and didn't get anything. That's 250. You want to buy it with 100. You're really 250. The words of the crowd made the man blush. He hesitated and said, Can I give you 300? Hee, the value of this pearl isn't worth 300. At this time, the stall owner spoke. 500. The man clenched his teeth and said, 500, that's a sky-high price. Yang Ming shook his head with some amusement. Sorry, I'm not selling. Not selling. Then we will pay 1,000. The woman didn't want to do it. Boss, please thread it for me. I'm leaving. Yang Ming didn't bother with the woman and said to the stall owner. Yang Ming didn't want to sell. The man and woman had no choice but to watch Yang Ming take the threaded pearl and hang it around Xiaoqing's neck. Xiaoqing looked at Yang Ming happily. Under the envious eyes of the crowd, she left the stall selling pearl shells with Yang Ming. The couple behind became ruthless and continued to pick the pearl shells crazily. The stall owner was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. "How is it? I won, right?" Yang Ming said with some pride. You won, but Yang Ming, do you know pearl shells very well?" Xiao Qing suddenly asked. "Why do you say that?" Yang Ming's heart moved. Xiao Qing really saw something. Others didn't know the conversation between Yang Ming and Xiao Qing, so most people thought that Yang Ming was lucky, but Xiao Qing was different. She had some doubts. "It's okay. If you don't want to say it, then forget it." Xiao Qing shook her head indifferently. "Anyway, your purpose has been achieved." After that, Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming with a blush. Thinking of what she had to do at night, Xiao Qing felt hot all over. "Sister Xiao Qing, it's not that I don't want to say it, but some things are really too weird." Yang Ming said with some helplessness, "Actually, I have wanted to tell you about my matter for a long time." "Sister Xiao Qing." Yang Ming, don't say it first." Xiao Qing suddenly stopped Yang Ming. "Yang Ming, do you trust me so much? What if I hurt you?" "Sister Xiao Qing, I know that you won't hurt me. I believe you." Yang Ming said firmly. Nothing in the world is absolute. How do you know that I won't betray you in the future?" Xiao Qing smiled and said, "So, if it's related to your own secret, it's better not to say it. Then I will gamble once. I don't believe that you will betray me." Yang Ming shook his head and stared at Xiao Qing's eyes as he said it word by word. "Yang Ming, you are still too impulsive." Xiao Qing sighed and said faintly, "I won't betray you, but it doesn't mean that others won't. So, I don't want you to say your secret." "Sister Xiao Qing, no one knows my secret except for you." Yang Ming wasn't stupid. The reason why he dared to confess to Xiao Qing was that Xiao Qing now knew part of his strength. Moreover, Yang Ming had a deep understanding of how Xiao Qing treated him. Even if Xiao Qing was sorry for herself, she wouldn't be sorry for Yang Ming. Therefore, Yang Ming was 100% assured of Xiao Qing. Moreover, Xiao Qing, as a woman, had given everything to him. Why couldn't Yang Ming trust her? "Is it the last time you told me that you have a sixth sense? Can you foresee it?" Xiao Qing guessed. "Foresee, sweat." Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. "I'm sorry, Sister Xiao Qing. In fact, I lied to you about the sixth sense. Don't say it. I understand. You don't need to apologize to me." Xiao Qing smiled slightly. "However, Yang Ming, I really didn't expect you to be so careful. It seems that my worry was in vain. The last time I saw you reveal your secret so easily, I was worried about you. Sister Xiao Qing, I don't have a sixth sense, but my ability is not inferior to foresight. In a sense, my ability is even more powerful than foresight." Yang Ming looked around and saw that there was no one else, then he slowly said to Xiao Qing. Chapter 384. Then you. This time it was Xiao Qing's turn to be puzzled. If Yang Ming didn't have the ability to foresee, how could he know that someone was coming from outside the door and that there was a pearl in the pearl shell? However, Xiao Qing wasn't a stupid person. After thinking about it, she came to an amazing conclusion. "Could it be that you can see through things?" Yang Ming smiled noncommittally. "Sister Xiao Qing, you are wearing pink underwear today. You are so sexy." Xiao Qing was stunned and immediately understood. Yang Ming was admitting his ability in disguise. It seemed that her guess wasn't wrong. Yang Ming did have the ability to see through things. "In other words, I'm naked in front of you?" Xiao Qing asked with some shyness. You can say that. If you have any problems with your body in the future, you don't have to go to the hospital to do an ultrasound and CT. Just look for me directly. Yang Ming nodded and replied. Then wouldn't you be able to see who you want to see? Pervert. Xiao Qing scolded. Pervert. Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. Sister Xiao Qing, I usually don't use this ability. And, I swear, it was the first time I used this ability to look at your body. Really? Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming with some disbelief. Of course, it's true. Sister Xiao Qing, am I as bad as you said? Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded. Hee, then I misunderstood you. Xiao Qing smiled. Right, Yang Ming, let me tell you. Don't tell anyone about this ability. I can guarantee that I won't tell Xiao Qing, but what about others? Maybe it's unintentional or intentional. If your ability is used by bad people, it will be troublesome. Sister Xiao Qing, you can rest assured. I'm not a fool. I know very well what people do to me. Yang Ming said, you know the piece of imperial jade that I gave to Godfather, right? That's how I opened it. I thought it was strange at the time. How could you be so lucky to open an imperial jade? It turned out to be like this. Xiao Qing nodded, but she still had some doubts. Yang Ming, do you still have something to tell me? Huang Yukai and Song Hang's matter has nothing to do with your ability. Sister Xiao Qing, don't worry. What I'm going to say next is exactly this. As Yang Ming spoke, he bent down and picked up a small stone from the ground. Sister Xiao Qing, you probably saw it when we were in Hong Kong. My skills are not bad. It's not just okay, it's simply too amazing. Xiao Qing didn't mean to flatter Yang Ming, but in fact, the incident that night had caused a great shock to Xiao Qing. Look at that seabird over there. Yang Ming pointed at a seabird that landed on the shore not far away. Yes. I saw it. Xiao Qing nodded. Yang Ming seemed to inadvertently throw out the small stone in his hand. It hit the head of the bird, and with a bang, the seabird fell down. You hit it. Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming inconceivably. Although she had long known that Yang Ming's skills were great, Xiao Qing didn't know that Yang Ming had such accuracy. In fact, this was not much different from the hidden weapons described in those wuxia novels. Yes, I have a master who taught me kung fu. Yang Ming still didn't say anything about Fong Tian. After all, this wasn't his own matter. It involved Fong Tian, so he couldn't simply say anything to Xiao Qing. Moreover, the assassin industry was too unfamiliar and too sensitive for ordinary people, so Yang Ming didn't say it in detail. It turned out to be like this. I was wondering why Song Hang was so scared. It turned out that you used violence to coerce him. Xiao Qing didn't ask much. After all, she didn't understand these things very well. Hee, you didn't see Song Hang's appearance at the time. He even peed in his pants. Yang Ming smiled. Xiao Qing shook her head and sighed, he deserves it. As the sky darkened, the sea breeze also became fierce, and it was particularly cold when it blew on the face. Yang Ming and Xiao Qing walked for a while, then they drove back to Xiao Qing's residence. Xiao Qing also fulfilled her previous promise. Early the next morning, Yang Ming went to class as usual. When he walked into the classroom and saw Zhou Jiejie, he remembered the kiss that night. To be honest, Yang Ming didn't take her seriously at all, so he simply didn't think about it when he went back. Seeing that there was still a seat reserved for him next to Zhou Jiejie, Yang Ming walked over helplessly. To be honest, Yang Ming was really embarrassed. In any case, whether Zhou Jiejie was a little slut or he didn't have a good impression of her, he still kissed her. However, since Zhou Jie didn't say anything and still reserved a seat for him, Yang Ming would be a bit pretentious if he continued to refuse. So, he simply pretended that nothing had happened and sat next to Zhou Jie. Maybe it was because of the embarrassment that night, Yang Ming took the initiative to greet Zhou Jie. "Good morning, I didn't expect that the class monitor is so hardworking." Zhou Jie was stunned. Yang Ming actually talked to her first. Zhou Jie was so excited that she couldn't speak. After calming down for a long time, she said incoherently, "Anyway, it's not interesting to stay in the dormitory. I can see you in the classroom, see me." Yang Ming was stunned. Damn, if I knew that this chick would speak without thinking, I wouldn't have bothered with her. Now, how can I answer this? So, he had to laugh awkwardly and change the topic. "Is there a class reunion tonight? And can we go together tonight?" Zhou Jie asked. "Nonsense, if I don't go with you, where am I going?" Yang Ming said with some annoyance. "What time is it tonight?" "The reunion starts at 6:00 in the evening at the Immortal Resort in West Star Mountain." Zhou Jie also knew that she had lost her composure. Her tone returned to normal. "We have to leave school at 4:00 in the evening, or else we can't make it." "Well, remind me when the time comes." Yang Ming nodded. Why is it West Star Mountain again? But thinking about the scenic spots near Songjiang except for West Star Mountain and the seaside, there was nothing to go to. At 4:00 in the afternoon, Zhou Jie called Yang Ming and asked him to meet at the school gate. West Star Mountain was far from the school. The road in winter was slippery, so Yang Ming didn't intend to drive himself. He called a taxi with Zhou Jie and rushed to West Star Mountain. Yang Ming had already called Qin Mengyan before. Qin Mengyan heard that Yang Ming was going to the class reunion with Zhou Jie. She didn't say anything. She just asked him to find an opportunity to apologize to Zhou Jie. Yang Ming didn't take it seriously and responded vaguely. After hanging up the phone, Qin Mengyan began to think about random things again. Although she felt that Yang Ming and Zhou Jie were unlikely to be together, the two of them had kissed, so Qin Mengyan's heart was still a little uncomfortable. However, she didn't say it. After all, it was her boyfriend who was in the wrong first. If she was hostile to Zhou Jie, it would only make things worse. In the taxi, Yang Ming sat in the front passenger seat, and Zhou Jie sat in the back. Although the two people didn't sit together, Zhou Jie already felt very happy. At least, at this moment, she was alone with Yang Ming. When they arrived at the Immortal Resort in West Star Mountain, the time was exactly 5:40 in the evening. Fortunately, they weren't late. "Right, Wu Qiren isn't coming today, right?" When they got out of the car, Yang Ming suddenly asked. "No, the people who came today are all students. There are no teachers," Zhou Jie said helplessly. She knew that Yang Ming hated Wu Qiren very much. Although Wu Qiren was very shameless, the fuse that caused all this was her, Zhou Jie. Yang Ming nodded and walked into the resort. If Wu Qiren was there, Yang Ming would beat him up. Zhou Jie saw that Yang Ming didn't wait for her, so she quickly quickened her pace and followed behind him. In the resort's hotel lobby, there were already some people waiting. Yang Ming glanced at these people. They were all familiar faces. Yang Ming couldn't name many of them. In Yang Ming's junior high school, he didn't have many friends. Except for Suya and Sun Haoming, Zhou Jie might be the only one who left a deep impression. However, there were many people who knew Yang Ming, but their relationship with him wasn't very good. After that, Yang Ming was notorious, so everyone pretended not to see him. Zhou Jie's popularity was good. After seeing her come in, many people took the initiative to greet her. Zhou Jie was afraid that Yang Ming would be embarrassed, so she took the initiative to introduce Yang Ming to everyone. However, all the people were not familiar with Yang Ming. After Zhou Jiejia's mediation, they just nodded. Chapter 385. Yang Ming didn't care. After all, these people had nothing to do with him. Yang Ming came here just to see if he could meet Sun Haoming. Or Suya. He also knew that this possibility was almost impossible, but sometimes people tend to be like this. They obviously know that it is impossible, but they still want to see it. Looking at the group of familiar strangers in front of him, Yang Ming helplessly found a place to sit down in the rest area and waited silently. Although Zhou Jiejia was a little worried about Yang Ming, because she was a former study commissary, and she was beautiful, she was entangled by her classmates when she appeared. She couldn't get away, so she had to let Yang Ming leave. However, when she saw Yang Ming sitting aside without any unpleasant expression, Zhou Jiejia was relieved. After all, Yang Ming was dragged here by her. If he was unhappy, Zhou Jiejia's heart wouldn't feel good. Not long after, there was a commotion in the class. Yang Ming looked up. It turned out that the former class monitor, Sui Guangqi, came. It was said that this guy was admitted to the science experimental class of XX University in high school. He was a genius. However, Yang Ming wasn't interested in this kind of person, but the girls were very excited. Sui Guangqi not only studied well, but he also looked good. He exuded a kind of elegant temperament. Sui Guangqi was born to be a leader. Since he came, everyone gathered around him and greeted him. Sorry, my father had something to do, so I was delayed for a while. As the class monitor, I am late. I am really sorry. Sui Guangqi explained gently and elegantly, and then said, everyone has gathered. See if everyone is here. Yang Ming. Zhou Jiejia shouted to Yang Ming, gather here. Yang Ming actually knew about the gathering. He knew what Sui Guangqi said when he saw the shape of his mouth. However, Yang Ming was used to being undisciplined. He didn't like to be controlled. When he heard Zhou Jiejia calling him, Yang Ming stood up lazily and walked to the crowd. Sui Guangqi looked at Yang Ming with some surprise. He thought that a student like Yang Ming wouldn't attend the party. He didn't expect him to come. However, Sui Guangqi said calmly, Yang Ming, I haven't seen you for a long time. Not long, not long. It's only been 3 years. Yang Ming replied indifferently. Sui Guangqi didn't put a small character like Yang Ming in his eyes. He only greeted him out of courtesy. When he heard Yang Ming's answer that was almost joking, he didn't care. He nodded and began to greet others. Just now, the students who were still in groups of 3 to 5 immediately reached a consensus under Sui Guangqi's call. It had to be said that his organizational ability was very strong. Sun Haoming is here. A few girls took the lead and shouted. If Sui Guangqi was scholarly and elegant, Sun Haoming was masculine and domineering. Both of them were the focus of the class at that time. Their academic performance was comparable. Although they were friendly on the surface, many people knew that these two people were competing in the dark. There was no other reason. It was because one mountain couldn't accommodate 2 tigers. Who didn't want to be the most dazzling focus? Sui Guangqi, who had always been calm, couldn't help but frown when he heard Sun Haoming's name. However, when he saw Sun Haoming's outfit, he couldn't help but wonder. Not only did he have this feeling, but the other people in the class, including Yang Ming, also had this strange feeling. Sun Haoming was wearing a tight black leather jacket. His hair had been trimmed into a crew cut, and he was wearing a pair of black sunglasses. If Sun Haoming didn't take off his sunglasses because he was still breathing when he came in, no one would recognize him. However, Sun Haoming's outfit didn't look like a student. Instead, he looked like a big brother in the society. Hello, Sun Haoming. Although Sui Guangqi didn't have a good impression of Sun Haoming, his former opponent, the two people didn't have any intersection. Sui Guangqi didn't need to compete with him, so he simply greeted him generously. Sun Haoming looked at Sui Guangqi but pretended not to hear it. He went straight to Yang Ming's side and smiled at him. He patted his shoulder and said, "You're here." I just came to see you." Yang Ming nodded. "If you came a little later, I might have left." I didn't expect that Sun Haoming, would have such a good relationship. I can even make Madman Yang remember me." Sun Haoming laughed. "Madman Yang. Haoming, don't mention this name again. At that time, I was young and didn't know anything." Yang Ming chuckled twice. Sui Guangqi's face was a little ugly. Just now, Yang Ming was indifferent to me. Now, this Sun Haoming actually turned a blind eye to me. Sui Guangqi wanted to be angry, but he held it back. The image he created didn't allow him to do so. So, he smiled at Yang Ming and Sun Haoming without any unpleasantness. "You two brothers can catch up later at the table. Now, it's almost time. We should be seated." Sun Haoming saw that Sui Guangqi wasn't angry, so he smiled and said, "Your temper is still so good." You too. You still like to joke so much." Although Sui Guangqi said so, he was a little puzzled in his heart. This Sun Haoming was very introverted when he was in school. Why is he acting like he took medicine today? It's up to you to understand it. Sun Haoming said faintly and didn't look at Sui Guangqi again. Sui Guangqi was bored, but his patience was quite amazing. He didn't show the slightest displeasure, but he began to organize everyone to sit down. On the way to the restaurant, Sun Haoming asked Yang Ming, "How is it? What are you doing now?" "Doing what?" "Of course, going to school." Yang Ming looked at Sun Haoming strangely. "Aren't you going to school?" Yang Ming was a bit puzzled. Sun Haoming's dressing obviously didn't look like a student. Even if he was a student, he wasn't a good student. This was different from the original Sun Haoming. At that time, although Sun Haoming was dressed very cool, he had the image of a sunny boy. He wasn't as decadent as he was now. I stopped studying long ago." Sun Haoming shook his head. "Brother Yang, are you still mingling outside now?" "Mingling what?" "Later, I felt that what you said made sense. After I went to high school, I settled down a lot." Yang Ming said with a bitter smile, "After all, mingling outside isn't a long-term solution." "No way, Yang Ming. With your skills and fame, it's really a waste not to continue mingling." Sun Haoming said with some regret. "Sun Haoming." Yang Ming looked at him strangely, then frowned and said, "Are you Sun Haoming? Why do I feel that you and him are not the same person? Although you look quite similar." "Damn. Yang Ming, don't be funny." "Of course, I'm Sun Haoming." Sun Haoming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Now that I think about what I said to you, I feel that I was childish back then. At that time, I thought that studying well was everything and that I could have everything. But I found that I was wrong, very wrong." "Sun Haoming, do you mean to tell me that you dropped out of school to mingle outside?" Yang Ming looked at Sun Haoming with surprise after listening. This shock came so suddenly that Yang Ming was somewhat at a loss. He didn't expect that Sun Haoming, who was so good at studying, would actually drop out. And he, who was called a bad student and crazy young, was actually admitted to a famous university. "Yang Ming, I will talk to you about this in a while. There are too many people now, so I don't want to mention it." Sun Haoming sighed, then patted Yang Ming's shoulder and said, "But the original Sun Haoming no longer exists." Although Yang Ming vaguely knew that Sun Haoming might have encountered something to become like this, he still felt very sorry for him. In the past, the two most promising people in the class were Sun Haoming and Sui Guangqi. Now, Sui Guangqi had obviously started his shining life, but Sun Haoming had become another person. To be honest, I came to the class reunion this time to see you. Sun Haoming said faintly. In junior high school, we got along quite well. Before Sun Haoming finished speaking, he was interrupted by Zhou Jiejia, who was walking in front. Yang Ming, hurry up. The elevator is waiting for you. Let's go. We'll talk after dinner. Yang Ming patted Sun Haoming's shoulder and pulled him quickly to the elevator.